Fine. Hey, good evening, everyone. Vishwesh here. Welcome to Chase Alpha's Momentum series. And the last episode of our Momentum series is Intraday Buy Option, one of the most exciting and most talked about session because this day is the maximum volume that happens in the option space, and that too also into the intraday. So about 18 lakh odd crore, which happens about 1450 lakh crore happens in the option, and that also in intraday. So today we're going to talk about the intraday options buying techniques and how I do what I do. Before that, just let me read a quick viewer undertaking, guys. This video content herein is the sole property of Chase Alpha Partners LLP. The video is being viewed under live webinar agreement or recording as specifically authorized by Chase Alpha. The video bears watermark containing your Chase Alpha account ID, name and contract number, and specific to you, and accordingly any unauthorized copying, recording, reproduction or any distribution in any form is strictly prohibited. In the event of any unauthorized video copying, recording, reproduction and or distribution or any video which is property of Chase Alpha LLP, you will be financially liable to Chase Alpha towards any financial losses borne by the Chase Alpha. On account of such unauthorized video transmission or leakage, and the Chase Alpha LLP would be authorized to initiate any punitive legal action against you. If you are not authorized by Chase Alpha by an underlying live webinar agreement or recorded confirmation, you are strictly advised to stop the video immediately and not view the same any further ahead. You are encouraged to report any breach, compromise of security, unsolicited activity with respect to the relay of the video to Dipanshu Jain on 70366 or info@chasealpha.in. Thank you so much. That was just a standard view undertaking which we have to read, because these days the most difficult thing has happened is that protecting your content. While a lot of the people are very humble, to respecting the content creation, but at the same time there are enough people who are always on the lookout of finding easier solution. So that's just our way of ensuring that whoever watches our content adhere to our viewer undertaking. A little bit about myself. By now you already know. If you guys don't know much about me, you can just Google or you can just read my Money Control article. I think my journey is very well articulated by Money Control on this thing. Today's topic is intraday buy option. And when are we talking about intraday buy option? In my opinion, the one thing that comes to my mind is the lot of the volatility. One thing that comes to my mind is that you're looking for buying the, you're buying only the premium and you're not bothering about the, risk side, because your maximum risk is always curtailed. So one thing which I'm assuming when we are starting is that you're well versed with the call put, you're well versed with the, when what happens when you buy call, what happens when you sell call. But as a educational initiative, it's our job to ensure that whatever we teach reaches to the right audience and you guys able to understand what we try to convey. So in this case, I'm taking one more short dive into the what the Greeks are. And in my opinion, most of you by now has already some bit of an idea that what is delta, vega, theta are, but I just thought that it is good idea for me to repeat once again. So first of all, as we have been saying that from quite some time now, D for delta, D for direction. And when we are talking about a delta, you're mostly talking about a direction. Now, D for delta, D for direction, it is also the probability of option expiring in the money. So when you're talking about an option, you are talking about an option from a perspective of what is the probability of that option expiring in the money. And that, in my opinion, you guys need to keep very much in the mind that it is actually a probability. Delta is actually a probability. And when you're talking about a probability, you're talking about from a point of view of that how much chances it has to expire in the money. So that is your delta. Now, delta can be positive, delta can be negative. Call option has a positive delta, put option has a negative delta. That is just to begin. You should keep in mind. One more thing which you should keep in mind is that a delta, as you move away from the at the money, reduces, because the probability of that reduces. At the money option has a 0.5 delta. Out of the money option has a delta towards 0. The next is the vega. Okay. So what is a vega? Vega is volatility, or in simplistic terms, if I have to put it, vega is the change in your option price with respect to change in volatility. And the last is the theta. Theta is basically time. So when you're talking about a theta, you're talking about that how much your option portfolio or how much your option price will change with change of 1 day in time. Okay, so that is a few basic things which you should keep in mind. Now, when you're talking about a delta, you are talking it from a probability of option expiring in the money. Okay, you should also understand that delta of an at the money option is always going to be 0.5, and as the moneyness changes, so at the money becomes in the money, the delta will increase, and as the money becomes out of the money, delta will decrease. That is the one thing which you should keep in mind. Call has a positive delta from 0 to 1. Put has a negative delta from 0 to -1. If delta negative means your position is bearish. If delta positive means your position is bullish. Okay. Like all the Greeks, delta is also dynamic and it's keep changing. And that is where you should also have an idea that how the delta is changing. So delta value changes based on the moneyness of an option. What it means, अगर आपका ऑप्शन एट द मनी से इन द मनी होता है और इन द मनी से शायद एट द मनी होता है या आउट ऑफ द मनी होता है, your delta value is going to change. So you should keep that in mind. Value delta tells you how much you will likely to move or lose. ये सबसे ज्यादा important है. In my opinion, most of the people fail to understand that after end of the day you're talking about a money. So if you have a 5,000 delta, what it means, with every 1 rupee move or every 1 point move of an underlying, can it be Nifty, can it be Bank Nifty, can it be SBI, can it be anything. If your delta is 5,000, that means 1 रुपए के चेंज के साथ आपको 5,000 रुपए आएंगे, और अगर 1 रुपए अनफेवर जाएगा तो आपको 5,000 रुपए जाएंगे. That is a simple way to put it. If you buy a call, you have a positive delta. If you buy a put, you have a negative delta. So if you have 5,000 delta, that means you have some sort of a positive position. And if you have a 5,000 negative delta, that means you have a negative position. Now that means अगर underlying गिरेगा, if the underlying goes down, you will make money. You know how much you will make money? With every 1 rupee or every 1 point, you will make a 5,000 rupees if it goes in your favor. One thing you should always remember, that delta is the change in your option portfolio with respect to change in underlying. Okay. Now last concept that you should keep in mind when it comes to the delta is that जब volatility ज्यादा होती है, when the volatility is high, your delta is likely to be lesser. Just keep it in mind. We will implement this concept in some time. At that time, we will see that. Just keep this in mind. Next is your Vega. So Vega, काफी सारे लोगों को ये चीज ऐसा लगेगा, कि ये चीज थोड़ी सी रिपीटेटिव है, पर मैं फिर से बता देता हूँ. It is good sometimes to have an assurance कि this thing is understood very well. That is the reason I'm repeating again and again. So Vega is V for Vega, V for volatility. Change in option portfolio with respect to change in 1 point implied volatility. Understand one thing, I am referring a 1 point change. तो अगर आपके पोर्टफोलियो का suppose Vega 3,000 है, if your option portfolio has a Vega of 3,000, what it means अगर IV 1 point से change होगी, तो मतलब सपोज IV उस वक्त थी लेट्स से 30, सो 32 अगर IV 31 जाएगी, यू विल मेक अ 3,000 रुपीज फ्रॉम अ वेगा, फ्रॉम अ वॉलेटिलिटी. ठीक है, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट कंसेप्ट है और आज के दिन में हम इंट्राडे ऑप्शंस की बात करने वाले हैं, तो मैं चाहता हूं आप वेगा पे खास ध्यान दें. You should understand and probably you should have a very much clarity about the Vega. I'll explain in a detail when we go there. So change in option portfolio with respect to changing implied volatility. Okay, this is very important. When you buy, you have a positive Vega, and when you sell, you have a negative Vega. When you buy options, you have a positive. अगर आप call खरीदो या put खरीदो, आपका Vega positive ही है. तो if you are option buyer, guys, this is the most important thing, and शायद आपको किसी ने बताया नहीं होगा. अगर आप इंट्राडे में ऑप्शन बाय करते हो, you are a long Vega people. All the people in today's webinar are long Vega guys. ठीक है, तो लॉन्ग वेगा का मतलब क्या हो गया, आप ऑप्शन खरीदते हो, आपका वेगा पॉजिटिव होता है. ठीक है, नाउ व्हाट इज अ वेगा? चेंज इन वॉलेटिलिटी की वजह से आपकी प्राइस में कितना चेंज आएगा ऑप्शन की प्राइस में. तो अगर आपने इंट्राडे में ऑप्शन खरीदा और अगर आपको पैसा नहीं बन रहा है, तो इसके दो रीजन हो सकते हैं. पहला रीजन तो ये है कि आपको डेल्टा हर्ट कर रहा है, मतलब योर डायरेक्शन इज हर्टिंग यू. सो व्हाटएवर द डेल्टा वाज दैट, इट इज गोइंग अगेंस्ट यू, सो दैट इज नॉट मेकिंग मनी फॉर यू. Another thing which can happen for you is Vega. Vega का मतलब क्या हो गया कि आपका Vega बहुत बड़ा अच्छा पॉजिटिव Vega था और अब क्योंकि वॉलेटिलिटी कम हो रही है, क्योंकि वॉलेटिलिटी कम हो रही है, आपको पैसा नहीं बन रहा है, यू नो. सो द वन थिंग यू शुड ऑलवेज अंडरस्टैंड, one thing you should always understand when you're talking about a Vega is that आप इंट्राडे में ऑप्शन जब बाय करते हो, आपका वेगा जो है वो पॉजिटिव होता है. दैट्स इट. You are not selling option, you are just buying option. And if you're buying option, your Vega is always going to be positive. Whether you buy call, whether you buy put, you should always remember. तो अगर आपने इंट्राडे में ऑप्शन खरीदा और वॉलेटिलिटी कम होनी थी, तो आपको पैसा नहीं बनेगा, आपको पैसा नुकसान होगा. कितना नुकसान होगा? We'll see that in some time. We'll see that how much you will lose. If you sell option, your Vega is negative. But since we have a option buying webinar today, we are mostly talking about a positive Vega. Okay. The next is, this is another concept which you should keep in mind. Whenever you buy option, you have a positive Vega. But higher days to expiry means if your days to expiry is more, so compared to weekly, if there is a monthly option you buy, it will have a higher Vega. Correct? So one characteristics of this fall was what? Your volatility from a 20 went to almost 100. सिंपल चीज आपको समझनी है, आपकी जो वॉलेटिलिटी थी वो 20 वाली ऑलमोस्ट 100 भी हो गई थी. इनफैक्ट लॉट ऑफ द ऑप्शंस आई सॉ 240 वॉलेटिलिटी आल्सो ऑन द बैंक निफ्टी. सो व्हाट वाज हैपनिंग? द थिंग व्हिच वाज हैपनिंग वाज दैट व्हेन यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट अ Vega, shorter term option will have a lesser Vega compared to longer term option. तो मतलब your monthly options are going to have a higher Vega compared to weekly option. Just keep in mind. Next, at the money option will always have a highest Vega. You should understand that. At the money option will always have a highest Vega. So ये आपका Vega का ग्राफ है. देखिए यहाँ पे मैंने दिखाया है आपको. Let me just draw it a bit for you. See, so ATM option will always have highest Vega, and as you move away from ATM, your Vega is going to reduce. So if you are playing around the volatility, you should always understand that ATM option will have a highest Vega. Okay? That is a couple of things which you should keep in mind. As you move away from the ATM, your Vega reduces. So these are the two concepts which you should keep in mind. One is your delta, which is nothing but a change in option price with respect to change in underlying. Okay? And the second is the Vega. If you buy option, you have a positive Vega. Okay? And if you sell option, you have a negative Vega. और दूर के option का Vega नजदीक के option से ज्यादा होता है. That is a simplistic way to understand. Now, one thing you should also keep in mind, we are not taking questions right now, guys. Please don't ask questions right now because I will not be able to see. Understand? I am focusing right now on the presentation and I am not focusing on the question. If you ask me questions right now, I will not be able to answer your question. We'll have a Q&A separately. Hold your question, write it down on notepad. At the time you ask, we will answer that. Okay. Now the next is theta. So change in option price with respect to change in time. The one thing you should also remember that your theta is actually a change in option price with respect to time. Okay. If you buy option, you have a negative theta. Understand that? If you buy option, you have a negative theta. तो आप लोग क्या हो? आप इंट्राडे बाय ऑप्शन वाले हो. तो पहली चीज आपका वेगा पॉजिटिव होगा और आपका थीटा नेगेटिव होगा. हमेशा आपको ये याद रखने का. Write it down on a piece of paper that whenever you buy an option, whether it is intraday or whether it is positional, आपका वेगा हमेशा पॉजिटिव होगा, थीटा हमेशा नेगेटिव होगा. One. Second thing you should also keep in mind that थीटा जो है वो वेगा का ऑपोजिट होता है. इसका मतलब क्या होता है? वेगा नजदीक के ऑप्शन में कम होता है और दूर के ऑप्शन में ज्यादा होता है. थीटा नजदीक के ऑप्शन में ज्यादा होता है और दूर के ऑप्शन में कम होता है. तो इसका मतलब क्या होता है? ये बहुत लॉजिकल स्टेटमेंट और आपको ये समझना बहुत अच्छे से जरूरी है. जब आप ऑप्शन खरीदते हो और अगर आप एक्सपेक्ट करते हो कि वॉलेटिलिटी बढ़ेगी तो दूर के ऑप्शन खरीदना जरूरी है. और जब आप दूर के ऑप्शन खरीदते हो तो दो चीज है, आपका वेगा भी ज्यादा है और थीटा भी कम है. So in this fall, lot of the people, बहुत सारे लोगों ने, कितने लोगों ने मेरा ईलन का वीडियो देखा है? तो आपने अगर मेरा ईलन का वीडियो देखा हो तो उसमें मैंने जो स्ट्रैटेजी बताई थी वो उसी तरह की स्ट्रैटेजी थी जिसमें मैंने दोनों चीज किया था. मैंने क्या किया था? नजदीक के ऑप्शन बेचे थे और दूर के ऑप्शन खरीदे थे. तो जब आप इंट्राडे ऑप्शन बायर हो और आप एक्सपेक्ट करते हो कि वॉलेटिलिटी बढ़ेगी, मैं चाहता हूं कि आप ये समझे कि उसका फायदा आप दूर के ऑप्शन में ज्यादा अच्छे से ले पाओगे कंपेयर टू नजदीक के ऑप्शन। ठीक है। दूसरी चीज, अगर इम्प्लाइड वॉलेटिलिटी ज्यादा है, अगर आईवीज है मोर, तो थीटा इज डेफिनेटली गोना बी मोर। तो अगर आपकी इम्प्लाइड वॉलेटिलिटी 20 है, तो इसका मतलब आपको समझना है कि कंपेयर टू 40 थीटा जो रहेगा वो कम रहेगा। तो हायर आईवी हायर थीटा, लेसर आईवी लेसर थीटा, हायर डेज टू एक्सपायरी लेसर थीटा, लोअर डेज टू एक्सपायरी मोर थीटा। Simple, समझ में आ गया? Now we will take a couple of questions. I think some people have a question. Let me see that. Pawan Talwani is asking, it means if I sell monthly straddle, is be more beneficial than weekly if wallet. Correct, Talwani. Correct, Pawan ji. That is exactly what I mean. That is what exactly I mean. तो देखिए, अगर आप एक्सपेक्ट करते हो कि वेगा नीचे मतलब वॉलेटिलिटी नीचे आएगी, तो इट इज गुड आइडिया टू सेल अ मंथली ऑप्शन देन द डेली ऑप्शंस, वीकली ऑप्शन। बट आपको याद रखना है कि वीकली ऑप्शंस का थीटा भी ज्यादा होता है, तो भी आपको फायदा देता है। ठीक है। Jay is asking question, so if the volatility goes down and I have monthly option, then I would be even at loss even if the market goes in my direction. Correct, Jay. That is precisely what I'm trying to say. That is what precisely I'm trying to say. So you understand that. Karan Mahali is asking, sir, does this mean in intraday it is good to buy ATM next expiry rather than weekly? This is a very, very good question, Karan. We will answer this question in some time. Rahul is asking, where can we see IV? I will show you in some time. Saurabh is asking a question. Is it right to say for buying intraday option, it is best to buy far month option? No, I would not say, Saurabh. We will conclude that in some time. Just give me some time. So one thing you should understand that here our idea is what? IV means not Vega. See, IV is volatility. Vega is a Greek, which is representation of a volatility. So आपको एक चीज सबसे पहले तो ये चीज समझनी है। देखिए एक चीज समझिए, यहाँ पे व्हेन यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट अ बाइंग ऑप्शन, आपको सिंपल एक चीज सिंपल तरीके याद रखना है। इफ यू बाय ऑप्शन यू हैव अ पॉजिटिव वेगा, इफ यू सेल ऑप्शन यू हैव अ नेगेटिव वेगा। If you buy option, you have a negative theta. If you sell option, you have a positive theta. दूसरा, दूर के ऑप्शन का थीटा कम वेगा ज्यादा, नजदीक के ऑप्शन का थीटा ज्यादा वेगा कम। सिंपल, इतना इतना आप चीज को याद रखिए और इस चीज का हम थोड़ी देर में रेसिपी बनाएंगे ना। ये वाली स्लाइड है, मोस्ट ऑफ द लोगों को पता है, बट ये स्लाइड आपको याद रखनी है। इसका प्रिंट आउट लेके अपने डेस्क पे लगा सकते हो एंड जस्ट ऑल रिमेंबर दैट entire options is around this only, इसके अंदर में time as a factor अगर आप इंस्टॉल करते हो, you will have a lot of the idea. So few things that you are able to understand is the Greeks जो आपके मतलब का है, क्योंकि आप इंट्राडे ऑप्शन बायर्स हो, आपको एटलीस्ट वेगा थीटा तो पता ही होना चाहिए। प्लीज ये चीज आपको पता ही होनी चाहिए। Now let us take a next example. Let us take a next example which is डेटा एनालिसिस। और मेरे हिसाब से यहाँ पे सबसे ज्यादा क्वेश्चन आते हैं, और अभी तक जो लास्ट हमारे वेबिनार में थे बहुत सारे लोगों को डेटा एनालिसिस समझना था, but the way we had planned, we wanted to cover the data analysis today's webinar, and that is the reason why we did not cover back then. So हमारा ये जो पोर्शन है ये सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट पोर्शन है, और मैं चाहता हूं कि आप इसको ध्यान से देखें एक बार के लिए, क्योंकि आप इंट्राडे वाले हो, आप इतना ज्यादा ग्रीक्स नहीं समझोगे तो भी चलेगा, पर आप एक चीज समझ के चलिए कि आपको डेटा अच्छे समझना चाहिए। दूसरी चीज मैं फिर से बताना, इट्स अ डिस्क्लेमर गाइस, प्लीज नोट दैट डेटा एनालिसिस की कोई बुक नहीं है। डेटा एनालिसिस इज बेस्ड ऑन माय ओन एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ लास्ट सो मेनी इयर्स, एंड जो मैं शेयर कर रहा हूं वो उतना शेयर कर रहा हूं जो आपके लिए इनफ है। आप अगर ज्यादा करना चाहते हो, यू विल हैव टू डू इट ऑन योर ओन विद एन एक्सपीरियंस, यू विल आल्सो गेट दैट। आपको डेली करना पड़ेगा। n नंबर ऑफ सिनेरियोज आते हैं व्हेन इट कम्स टू डेटा एनालिसिस, n नंबर ऑफ सिनेरियोज हो सकते हैं, सारे सिनेरियो क्लियर करना यहाँ पे मुश्किल नहीं है। एक चीज आपको समझनी है कि जब आप डेटा एनालिसिस करते हो, आप बाय एंड लार्ज मार्केट की ग्रिप को समझना चाह रहे हो, हु इज इन अ कंट्रोल, वेदर इट इज अ बायर इन द कंट्रोल और वेदर इट इज सेलर इन द कंट्रोल। So let me answer a couple of questions before we go into data analysis. Vishesh is asking a question, sir, please repeat the relation between theta and vega. So relation between theta and vega, if you buy option, you have negative theta and positive vega, and exactly opposite that. all the people who are intraday buy option, you should understand you are positive vega guys. You are a long volatility people. आप कॉल खरीदो या पुट खरीदो, आपका वेगा हमेशा पॉजिटिव होगा. देखिए इंट्राडे ऑप्शन में थीटा इसलिए जरूरत होती है. कई बार क्या होता है कि 2 बजे के बाद बहुत रैपिडली ऑप्शन की प्राइसेस गिरती है क्योंकि वो थीटा एडजस्ट हो रहा होता है. तो आपको थीटा पता होना चाहिए कि आपका थीटा कितना है. ठीक है, इंट्राडे है इसका मतलब आपको पता नहीं है, जरूरी नहीं है, यू नो. सो एक चीज आपको हमेशा याद रखनी है कि ऑप्शंस की बहुत ज्यादा चीजें ग्रीक्स के अराउंड में रिवॉल्व करती है और आपको उसको समझना जरूरी है. recording of this webinar will be available, so आप इसको as many time as देख सकते हो, you know. Now just last question I'm taking, Praveen Deshpande. One example with all checklists like before buying option, what should be we check enter particularly for buy. We will go there, Praveen, we will go there, we will answer all this question. We have not yet started anything. I'm just giving you an example कि Greeks को कैसे use करना है. ठीक है. So now let us move to our next thing, which is the data analysis. So ये आपके सामने है, ये एक मैंने ऑप्शन चेन है, and this option chain is picked up from on a website, and I'm very happy to say that the website owner and the founder is definitely here today among our participants, and he is here, and I'm very happy to say that he is a part of our participant today. This is a screenshot from a website called iCharts.in. I will show you in some time. But let me show you that what this option chain is and how this option chain is different from other websites. Okay. First of all, this option chain has a few things. What are the few things? It has a IV, delta, gamma, vega, theta. ये जो चीज है ना, डेल्टा, वेगा, गामा, थीटा, ये आपको एनएससी पे नहीं मिलता है. दैट इज द फर्स्ट थिंग वी शुड अंडरस्टैंड, दैट इट गिव्स यू डेल्टा आल्सो, it gives you gamma also, it gives you theta also, and vega also. Gamma right now you forget, because from a shorter term perspective and from a buy option perspective, gamma is not very logical for me to explain, and our focus is mostly around the theta and vega. So this is like any other option chain, but this option chain has a Greeks on it, which is vega, theta, delta, and it also has an IV, and the way we calculate IV, you know. So the name of the website is icharts.in/opt. We will go there in some time, and I will explain you that sometime. So the first thing I do, now we are doing some data analysis, and we are analyzing the, you know, how you should analyze the option. Okay, the first thing you should do when you look at any option chain, focus where the highest OI is. So in this thing, if you look at, this is a 9th April Nifty option chain analysis. This side is a put side and this side is the call side. If you look at right now, the highest OI from a call perspective is around the 8400 call, and from a put perspective, if you look at the open interest, it is 10 lakh around the 7500. Now, the first thing you should do is, when you look at the any option chain, is to understand where is the highest call and highest put being written. Now, one more thing I would like to tell you that globally 85% of the option expires worthless. Okay, so what it means? It means अगर 85% जीरो हो जाते हैं तो जो राइटर है वो सबसे ज्यादा पैसा बनाता है. तो जब हम ऑप्शंस की बात करते हैं, what are we talking in? It is the writer who makes money. One thing. Next thing you should also understand that when you are talking from an option perspective, you should also understand that option writer has a higher odd in his favor. इसका क्या मतलब होता है? इसका मतलब ये होता है कि अगर मैं बाय करता हूं, if I am buying anything, you should also understand that whenever you buy option, you have a 33% chances of making money. मार्केट आपकी फेवर में जाएगा तो बाकी के जो 67% चांसेस है वो किसके फेवर में? सेलर. क्यों? मार्केट वहां रहा तो भी उसको पैसा बनेगा, मार्केट नीचे जाएगा तो उसके फेवर में जाएगा तो भी उसको पैसा बनेगा. दूसरा, time value is in his favor. So it is the writer who has got an advantage. So when you are talking about an option, you should always understand कि जो OI है वो mostly added by the option writer. So it is the writer who are more smarter, and that is why we attribute the open interest to the writer more than the buyer. Okay. Now जब आप देखते हो कि हाईएस्ट कॉल कहां पे, हाईएस्ट पुट कहां पे, द फर्स्ट थिंग यू शुड डू इज टू गेदर हाउ मच दिस ट्रायंगल इज कॉस्टिंग. सो ट्रायंगल का मतलब क्या होता है? ट्रायंगल का मतलब आउट ऑफ द मनी पुट एंड आउट ऑफ द मनी कॉल. सो योर जॉब इज टू फर्स्ट अंडरस्टैंड अबाउट द रेंज ऑफ द मार्केट. भैया 7500 के पुट में हाईएस्ट हुआ है, उसकी वैल्यू चल रही है 55 रुपीज, और यहाँ पे 8500 की कॉल में चल रहा है, इसकी वैल्यू चल रही है 49. सो मोटा मोटी 50 प्लस 50, मार्केट इज एक्सपेक्टिंग 8600 to 7400 रेंज. हाउ मच? ये 9th अप्रैल तक का ये सीन है. मोस्ट ऑफ द मार्केट पार्टिसिपेंट्स आर एक्सपेक्टिंग, मतलब ये जो है ये मार्केट ड्रिवन रेंज है. 1000 पॉइंट निफ्टी इज द मार्केट. अब यही रेंज स्टॉक्स में अलग होता है, बैंक निफ्टी में अलग होता है. तो पहली चीज आप क्या करोगे जब ऑप्शन चेन नोट करोगे तो आप देखोगे कि ये स्ट्रेंगल की वैल्यू क्या है. ओके, दैट्स द ब्रॉड. सेकंड चीज आप क्या करोगे? सेकंड चीज आप ये करोगे, सेकंड चीज, अब इसकी जगह अगर 8000 का पुट आप लेते हो, एंड द रीजन आई एम नॉट गिविंग तवज्जो टू 8000 पुट एंड आई एम टेकिंग अ 10000 7500 पुट इज दैट बिकॉज आपको एक चीज और नोट करनी है कि कितना दूर है मार्केट से. सो इन अ वेरी शॉर्टर टर्म दिस पुट राइटर्स आर वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट. You should understand that. I'm not sure about that. So I am saying that अगर ये टूटा तो भी कोई बहुत बड़ी बात नहीं है. These guys are definitely gonna defend themselves. So when I look at the option change, I try to look at the broad range because I want to understand the broad range. So one thing you should always keep in mind, immediate जो put है वो उसको मैं इतना value नहीं दे रहा हूँ because by and large the market is remaining volatile, and when the market is volatile, this writers, we will come to this. These writers are definitely important, but not from a range point of view. From range point of view, मेरे हिसाब से these writers are more important because they are far writers. And you should also understand that from an implied volatility point of view, here is the 53 IV and here is the 63 IV. So these guys are having at a higher range. They have sold the higher volatility, and that is why these guys are more confident compared to this. So we will come to that in some time. So now, when you are talking about the strangle that gives you a range, now let us talk about something which is a more obvious thing, which is straddle. What is straddle? Straddle is at the money call and at the money put. So in this case, wherever your market is, so let's say your market is 8100, what is the at the money call and put is quoting you? So that is your straddle. So in this case, your 8100 this plus this. So here also you are talking about a 400 point range. Okay? Now that is the reason why I give more weightage to this 7500 writer and less to this 8000 guys right now from a shorter term perspective. We will come to that, the 8000 writers, we will come to that. But you should understand at the money straddle 180 plus 220, just round it up. So that is also 400 rupees. So that is also giving you about 8100 minus 400 points. So that is also giving you about what 7700. Yeah, that is giving you about a 7700 range. Now, when you go this side, this is giving you 8500. So 400 points up and 400 points now. So now you would understand why I was talking about 7500 put writers and not the 8000. Because your at the money straddle is telling you 400 point move, and your strangle is telling you about a 1000 point range, which is 500 point this side, 500 point this side. So now the median range of this is about a 450 point, and that is going to be your range. So when you analyze the option chain, you are also analyzing this triangle, but look at the broad triangle. Look at the broad triangle and match it with the straddle. Match it with the straddle. So your straddle is telling you 400 point move at the money. And this straddle is very, very important from a result season perspective also. In a result season, this word MMM, market maker move. So at the money straddle is the move which market maker is pricing. So market maker right now, or for that matter, smarter people who are taking more risk, is pricing about a 400-point move on the bank nifty either side. Fine. So this straddle coupled with this strangle should give you a clarity that what is the range. So that is the first thing you do when you analyze the option chain. The second thing you should do is look at the IV skew. Now, what is the IV skew? So let me just first explain what is the IV skew. So when you're talking about an option, you are talking about a volatility. And as you go, so this is how your options IV may look like. So if this is your at the money IV, this is your at the money IV, and this is your out of the money IV. So if you see this structure, it is called a smile. You see that as you move towards OTM, where is the IV? Yeah. As you move towards OTM, look at that. Your IV is increasing on the put side. And as you move towards OTM, in the call side, it is definitely tapering. It should be something like this in the case of call, and it should be this like this in the case of put. Let me just highlight, zoom it a bit for you to understand. Look at the IV here now. Your IV as you move deep, OTM put is increasing. What it means? It means that out of the money puts are more expensive from a volatility perspective. Out of the money put are more expensive from a volatility perspective. And what it means that people who are expecting a larger move, they are expecting a move till that. But you should also remember that when out of the money put options are being expensive, that is a normal phenomena. But few days back, when the markets were falling, it was definitely something which you should have noticed. उस वक्त ये बहुत बड़ा disparity था, ठीक है? So out of the money high IV is a simple market mechanics, but it also tells you skew, and it tells you that if market is pricing a larger move or not. So compared to at the money, see your at the money puts are quoting at about 53, and out of the money is quoting at 10 point higher, which is 63. So market is expecting a larger move. Market is expecting a larger move. You should also understand from a perspective, from a market perspective. Or जभी भी, this is the most important thing you should understand when you observe the skew. जभी भी out of the money options की IV exuberantly high हो जाए at the money की compare में, तब तब आपको समझने का कि market is pricing large moves. When your OTM puts are exuberantly expensive compared to the at the money, then you should understand that out of the money options are pricing larger moves. And larger moves का मतलब ये है कि market is expecting a large move. Market is expecting a large move. So what is the idea? The idea is you are looking at this triangle, you are looking at the straddle, you understand the range of the market, you see the skew. And ये इंट्राडे के पर्सपेक्टिव इसलिए इम्पोर्टेंट है. इंडसइंड बैंक, SBI, ICICI बैंक, जब उनका आप ऑप्शन चेन और IV स्क्यू देखते हो, आपको समझ में आता है OTM options are so expensive, and that's where you're looking for a directional moves in intraday. जब at the money to out of the money IV का स्क्यू बहुत बड़ा ना हो, तब आपको ये समझने का कि market is not pricing a larger move. Market is pricing a smaller move. Guys, all the people who are experiencing an audio issue, please check your internet. At my hand, the voice is very nice because I have a sound meter going on and sound check going on, and my voice is completely online. So it is your internet which may be an issue. Please understand that. Okay. Now, one more thing which you should also understand, that when you are talking about a larger perspective, you are talking about a skew, and this skew, okay. Now somebody is asking, Aditya is asking कि ये skew कितना होना चाहिए? See, this skew अगर आप day to day observe करते हो ना, तो आपको समझ में आएगा. पिछले 1-2 वीक से 10 पॉइंट का स्क्यू मेरे हिसाब से कम है. Now, you see, I'm being very, but I'm changing my stance. Last 2-3 weeks से इतने बड़े बड़े मूव आए हैं, उसमें 10 पॉइंट का स्क्यू इज रिलेटिवली स्मॉलर. बट इफ यू आस्क मी, जब ये फॉल शुरू हुआ था, कितने लोगों ने मुझे पता नहीं टीवी पे देखा था नहीं देखा था, बजट के दिन आई वाज बेरिश एंड आई वाज कॉन्स्टेंटली हैविंग अ बेरिश स्टांस अबाउट अ मार्च वाज बिकॉज आउट ऑफ द मनी पुट सो ऑल ऑफ अ सडन स्टार्टेड एक्सपेंस गोइंग एक्सपेंसिव. तो अगर आप इसको रोज देखोगे तब आपको समझेगा कि यार लास्ट 5 दिन से स्क्यू तो 5 पॉइंट का ही था, ऑल ऑफ अ सडन 12 पॉइंट 15 पॉइंट क्यों हो गए? Why this out of the money put guy is able to give more pricing? और अगर आपने कल मेरा lot of the charts that I had shared on the Twitter आपने देखा होगा कि लास्ट टाइम the 10,000 का पुट जो 10 रुपए मिल रहा था वो 1300 रुपए हो गया. So somebody was buying there, right? So whoever was buying there was smarter guy. He was ready to pay even higher prices. So all your job is to ऑब्जर्व दिस क्यू एंड इसीलिए मैं आपको ये ऑप्शन चेन दिखा रहा हूँ. ये ऑप्शन चेन आप कहाँ देखेंगे? लेट मी शो यू द लिंक जहां आप ये ऑप्शन चेन को देखेंगे. So I'm just minimizing presentation and I'm going on a website. This is a iCharts.in. ठीक है, इसके अंदर में ऑप्शन में जाएंगे और आप ऑप्शन चेन में जाएंगे. You go to options and go to option chains. ये अच्छी वेबसाइट है, फ्रेंड ऑफ माइन and he is also joining here today. He is a part of a webinar also. This is a very cheap website, about a 500 odd rupees per month subscription है. इसमें आपको वेगा थीटा गामा IV सब कुछ मिल जाता है. You can see the skew of IV now. You see the put side skew is here. The put side skew, and that one is the call side skew. So what is the point I'm trying to tell you guys? The point that I'm trying to tell you is that when a market is pricing a larger move, ये जो skew है, ये जो skew है, ये normal के compare में जब बड़ा हो जाए, that is your indication कि market is pricing a larger move. We will tell you in some time. I will tell you the graphical presentation also. So this is the option chain. So what do you see in option chain? Once again, let me repeat it. You look for where the highest call over, not the immediate, but थोड़ी broader range में. You look for what is the straddle costing you. Straddle मतलब एकदम यानी call put क्या मुंह दे रहा है. और you look for the IV skew. Am I clear? This is the 3 things you look for. और जब आप skew देख रहे हो, आपको समझना है कि आप नॉर्मल के कंपेयर में स्क्यू को कंपेयर कर रहे हो. तो आप ऑल ऑफ अ सडन आके स्क्यू को समझना चाहोगे, आपको नहीं समझेगा. यू हैव टू लुक इट फ्रॉम अ एवरीडे पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. मैं आई एम लुकिंग मार्केट सिंस लास्ट 14 years, तो आई हैव एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ 14 years टू एनालाइज द स्क्यू. और रोज आपको 2 चीज तो करनी ही करनी है. रोज निफ्टी बैंक निफ्टी का स्क्यू आपको देखना है दिन में एटलीस्ट 2-3 बार. एक बार ओपनिंग में देख लीजिए, एक बार क्लोजिंग में देख लीजिए, आपको पता चलेगा हाँ ये नॉर्मल स्क्यू इतना चलता है. तो जैसे ही ये स्क्यू चेंज होगा, you will get a skew. Because market is now pricing a larger move. और ये skew आपको call side भी देखने लगेगा. ये skew आपको call side भी देखने लगेगा. ठीक है. So let me move to a next, which is focus on the second highest range. Now that is where your 8,000 comes. All the people who are telling me, sir, 8,000 has got the highest wire. So now you should understand that you should focus on the second range, which is also broader range. तो अभी देखिए यहाँ पे 8,000 के पॉइंट में 15 लाख है. एंड यहां पे यहाँ पे 10 lakh share. This is almost equal to this, guys, right? But you look at this now. This is where a highest OI has been added in the previous session. So now that is 7,800 and this is 8,400. So that is about what? 400, 400, 800 point range. इसकी वैल्यू क्या चल रही है? 112 और इसकी वैल्यू क्या चल रही है? 80. तो टोटल दिस इज प्राइसिंग 200 पॉइंट. सो ये भी आपको 7,600 टू 8,600 की रेंज दे रहा है. सो see right now when I'm telling you, you should also understand that मार्केट के अंदर में ये सारी चीजें 1 सेकंड का काम है. जब आपको स्लाइड के फॉर्म में दिखा रहा हूँ, वन बाय वन चीजें हाईलाइट करो, आपको लग रहा होगा कि कितनी चीजें हम देखे, बट आपको ये चीज समझना होगा कि स्क्यू और ये रेंज, ये सब आपको क्लैरिटी देगा जब आप इसको रोज करें, पहली बात। दूसरी बात, आप स्क्यू को मंथली में भी देखिए और वीकली में भी देखिए। आपको पता होना चाहिए कि मार्केट मंथ में क्या प्राइस कर रहा है, वीक में क्या प्राइस कर रहा है, कहाँ ऑप्शन एक्सपेंसिव है। तो गाइस, लेट मी टेल यू दैट ये जो फॉल गिरना शुरू हुआ, उस वक्त वीकली ऑप्शन इतने बड़े बड़े एक्सपेंसिव हो गए थे, सो पीपल वर इमीडिएटली प्राइसिंग द लार्जर मूव। सो स्क्यू वाज टेलिंग यू दैट इन अ शॉर्टर टर्म द मार्केट वाज लाइकली टू मूव कंपेयर टू द मंथ। And at the same time, monthly और weekly कब इतना महंगा हो गया था skew, that means people were afraid in the very near term also. So your job is not only to look at the range, look at this triangle, but also look at the second highest triangle. Now let's look at the next thing, which is change in UI, and this is where I'm going to highlight that 8,000 put and 7,800 put. Guys, understand one thing, that जब आप ऑप्शन चेन देखते हो, तो मुझे नहीं पता आप ऑप्शन चेन कैसे देखते हो। जब आप ऑप्शन चेन देखते हो तो आप ऑप्शन चेन में रेंज देखते हो, स्क्यू देखते हो, हाईएस्ट कॉल वाई देखते हो, पर आपको उसके साथ में चेंज इन ओआई देखना चाहिए। चेंज इन ओआई सिग्निफिकेंट टू दी करंट मार्केट। व्हाट इट मींस, देखिए ये बैंक निफ्टी का प्रीवियस का ऑप्शन चेन है, और यहाँ पे देखिए मैंने दो तीन चीज हाईलाइट की है। लुक एट दिस, 17,000 put added 1 lakh Y, and here 17,500 added a call Y. So let us open an option chain and let us do an analysis there. This is your option chain. यहाँ से कुछ भी open करके you can look at anything, but let me just highlight a bit. This is Nifty. Now you look at Nifty and you look at the open interchange. So कल के session में, in yesterday's session, look at how aggressive call riders have shifted. And you see, यहाँ पे ऐड हुआ है, यहाँ पे ऐड हुआ है और यहाँ पे ऐड हुआ है, but this addition with a price change is huge, highest. 100 रुपए प्राइस नीचे आया और 6.5 lakh शेयर भी ऐड हुआ. Now let us look at the put side. The put side, the significant OI has been added in the 8,000 put. But एक चीज हमेशा याद रखनी है आपको. Always remember one thing. Round strikes OI and round strikes bid-ask is always going to be different than the normal strikes. राउंड स्ट्राइक मतलब 8,000 हो गया, 8,500 हो गया, 9,000 हो गया, 7,000 हो गया, ये सारी स्ट्राइक्स का ओआई हमेशा रिलेटिव हाई होता है. उसका रीजन क्या होता है, वहां पे बहुत सारे कैलेंडर्स खड़े होते हैं, वहां पे बहुत सारे आर्बिट्राज खड़ा होता है. इसकी वजह से राउंड स्ट्राइक्स की ओआई को आपको तवज्जो देना है, लेकिन यू शुड ऑलवेज कीप इन माइंड, हाँ राउंड स्ट्राइक यहाँ पे ओआई रहता है. इट इज ऑलवेज लाइक दैट. दैट इज हाउ आई हैव बीन ट्रीटिंग ऑल दिस ईयर. तो यहाँ पे देखिए, बट लुक एट दिस ओआई, एंड इन माय ओपिनियन दिस इज द मोर इंपॉर्टेंट ओआई. 7,800 put writers have added in OI. And look at the price. The price did not fall. So that means these writers were writing the position. These writers were adding the position along with the market going down, and they managed to defend the position. So इसका 2 दिन का theta कितना है? Now let us look at what is the theta over here. So the theta at a 7,800 is 35 rupees. तो Saturday, Sunday, Monday 3 दिन की छुट्टी थी. 3 दिन की छुट्टी का, let's just open a calculator for us. 35 multiplied by 105 रुपए. So 105 rupees was the theta value. So इसकी value, now that is why you should understand that whoever was carrying this position from a positional perspective, he was sure कि इसकी value जो 112 है, इसकी value at least 3 दिन का थीटा ही इतना ज्यादा है, तो इसकी वैल्यू में सबसे ज्यादा गिरावट आनी चाहिए. एंड दैट इज द रीजन व्हाई OI addition, and even though there was no price change. So why am I telling you, even if you are intraday option buyer, अगर आप इंट्राडे में 7,800 का पुट बाय करने की कोशिश कर रहे थे, आपको पैसा नहीं बनता. क्यों नहीं बनता? क्योंकि देखिए यहाँ पे राइटिंग बहुत हैवीली थी, एंड व्हाइल द आईवीज वर मूविंग हायर, this guy was still managed to hold the position. So look at this put relatively. In the money puts are always good for a intraday. I'll come to that in some time. Now let us shift to a presentation. Where the OI is adding is very, very important. Okay? Round strikes tend to have a higher OI. Okay? And as you approach a weekend, how the OI behavior changes is what you have to understand. Now, अगर आपका 35 रुपीज का थीटा था तो दैट वाज वन डे थीटा, राइट? आपका सैटरडे छुट्टी है, संडे छुट्टी है और मंडे छुट्टी है, 3 दिन का छुट्टी के हिसाब से उस ऑप्शन का थीटा 110 है। बट क्या ऐसा होगा? ऐसा शायद नहीं होता, वो डायरेक्ट जीरो नहीं होता, बट एटलीस्ट उसकी वैल्यू 50 रुपए तो गिरनी चाहिए। क्यों गिरेगी? अगर वो वॉलेटिलिटी उतनी ओपन नहीं हुई, then that option is likely to lose its value. So uska pricing hai, that pricing we are not covering, that pricing we have covered as a part of our positional buy option. So when I'm looking at the option chain, I'm looking at the skew, I'm looking at the highest OI, lowest OI, I'm also looking at the ATM straddle strangle. When I'm looking at the change in OI, now this is what I would like to show it to you. When I'm looking at the change in OI, I'm looking which side the range is shifting. ठीक है? सो अगर आप समझेंगे तो अगर ओआई जोर से कॉल साइड एज हो रहा है, ठीक है, और मार्केट मूव कर रहा है, तो दैट मींस कॉल राइटर्स आर वेरी वेरी एग्रेसिव इन देयर स्टैंस। ठीक है, कॉल राइटर्स आर वेरी वेरी एग्रेसिव इन देयर स्टैंस। सेकंड थिंग यू शुड अंडरस्टैंड दैट change in OI is definitely a scenario based situation. Change in OI is a situation which should be analyzed with the three things. You have to compare the three things here. Pehli, what is the IV? What is the OI change? What is the call OI change? And what is the put OI change? तो आपको जब OI change को compare करते हो, just give me a minute, I'll drink of water. जब आप OI change को compare करते हो, आपको उसको स्टैंड अलोन नहीं देखना है, आपको उसको देखना है कहाँ मार्केट जा रहा है, डायरेक्शन ऑफ अ मार्केट, क्या आईवी में चेंज आ रहा है, हाउ मच द आईवी इज क्रश हैपनिंग एंड व्हाट इज हैपनिंग ऑन द अदर साइड। ठीक है, so there are 3-4 scenarios which I have added and this is not an exhaustive list but this is an indicative और आपको इसको समझने की कोशिश करना है, आपको ये समझने की कोशिश करना है कि अगर मार्केट के अंदर कॉल में ओआई ऐड हुआ और पुट में ओआई ऐड हुआ और मार्केट कहीं नहीं गया, तो इसका मतलब है मार्केट इज एक्सपेक्टिंग अ रेंज। फर्स्ट। सेकंड सिनेरियो, कॉल में ए ऐड हुआ, पुट में ओआई ऐड नहीं हुआ और मार्केट मूव नहीं हुआ, तो इसका मतलब कॉल राइटर्स वर श्योर एंड दे वर वेरी श्योर ये लेवल नहीं निकलेगा, तो आगे पीछे मार्केट में ब्रेक डाउन। थर्ड सिनेरियो, पुट में ओआई ऐड हुआ और कॉल में ऐड नहीं हुआ, तो दैट मींस अब इसमें हर बार मार्केट का मूव आपको ऐड करना ही पड़ता है। अब अगर इसमें मार्केट गिरा है और पुट में ऐड हुआ है, मतलब पुट राइटर्स आर कॉन्फिडेंट दे गोना होल्ड देयर पोजीशन। अब पुट में ऐड हुआ है, मार्केट मूव हुआ है, दैट्स इवन मोर, मींस द डायरेक्शन इज गोइंग अप एंड द पुट राइटर्स आर वेरी श्योर अबाउट डिफेंडिंग देयर पोजीशन। In fact, they are very sure about, that market is definitely going to go up. So that is working in the favor. So मैं आपको एक चीज रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, आपको समझने की जरूरत है कि मार्केट का change in OI should never be looked standalone. Should never be looked in standalone. आपको उसको standalone नहीं देखना है, आपको उसको देखना है along with where the market is moving, along with where the IV is moving. If IV is going down and market is going down, that means market is going on a lesser fear. लेकिन अगर IV भी बढ़ रहा है, पुट में हुआ है, ऐड नहीं हो रहा है, कॉल में एग्रेसिव हो रहा है, मतलब लार्ज मूव इज एक्सपेक्टेड, एटलीस्ट फ्रॉम अ डेटा पर्सपेक्टिव। ठीक है, सो योर जॉब, एंड जब आप स्क्यू को एनालाइज करते हो, यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट दिस इज आंसर टू पवन क्वेश्चन दैट ही इज आस्किंग, इज स्क्यू less on call side means there is less chances of underlying going higher than the up. So you have to understand that skew on upside means market is not expecting a larger moves compared to the down move. So call side इसलिए skew नहीं है, that's it. और one more thing you should understand is that जब आप चेंज इन OI को देख रहे हो, आपको उसको कभी भी स्टैंड अलोन नहीं देखना चाहिए। आपको उसको हमेशा आईवी के साथ देखना चाहिए, हमेशा उसको मार्केट के मूव के साथ देखना। मार्केट गिरा और कॉल में ऐड हुआ, ओके, मार्केट गिरा कॉल में ऐड हुआ, क्या हाईएस्ट कॉल की स्ट्राइक नीचे शिफ्ट हुई? क्या पुट राइटर नीचे शिफ्ट हुआ? पुट राइटर ने एडिशन किया, कॉल राइटर, ये सारी सिचुएशन अलग होती है, तो आपको इस सिचुएशन को एनालाइज करना है। तो अगर मार्केट गिरा और कॉल में एडिशन हुआ और कॉल एग्रेसिव जो राइटर था वो नीचे शिफ्ट हुआ, मतलब दे आर वेरी श्योर कि मार्केट शायद नीचे से ऊपर ना आए इमीडिएटली। अलॉन्ग विद दैट पुट में हुआ ऐड हुआ नहीं, ऐड हुआ, मतलब पुट राइटर्स आर नॉट कॉन्फिडेंट, मतलब मार्केट कैन गो फर्दर डाउन। जैसे ही अभी मार्केट सर्टेन लेवल पे जाता है वहां पे पुट में राइटिंग बढ़ना जाती है, मतलब नाउ पुट राइटर्स आर कॉन्फिडेंट दैट वी विल बी एबल टू डिफेंड दिस लेवल। So the entire situation has to be analyzed from a perspective where you have to see it larger things, ठीक है। मेरा एक स्ट्रॉन्ग मानना है कि मार्केट के अंदर में जब आप आईवी, मार्केट डायरेक्शन और इन तीनों चीज को कंबाइन करते हो, आपके पास बहुत ब्रॉड रेंज और बहुत क्लैरिटी हो जाती है, यू नो। और हमारे लाइव ट्रेडिंग सेशन जब हम करते हैं तो फर्स्ट थिंग वी डू एट द स्टार्ट ऑफ द मॉर्निंग इज वी एनालाइज द ओपन इंटरेस्ट फ्रॉम अ प्रीवियस सेशन, और ये एज अ डे ट्रेडर आपको कर करके आना है, और आप ड्यूरिंग द डे तो कर ही रहे हो। आपको पता होना चाहिए कि लार्जर मार्केट क्या एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा था। अभी मैं लेट मी टेल यू, मार्केट में ह्यूज कॉल एडिशन हुआ है, मार्केट नीचे जाना था, अब कॉल ऑल ऑफ अ सडन अंडरलाइंग मूव होना स्टार्ट होता है, यू नो ओके बॉस दिस राइटर वाज डेफिनेटली देयर एंड ही इज ट्रैप नाउ, आई शुड बैट अगेंस्ट हिम, दैट शुड बी योर स्टैंस। सो देखिए एक चीज आपको समझनी है, स्टैंड अलोन कोई भी चीज वर्क नहीं कर रहा है, ऑल यू हैव टू डू इज एनालाइज एंड पुट इट फ्रॉम अ लार्जर पर्सपेक्टिव। You have to do everything from a conjunction of a data and also from a perspective of a volatility. Okay. Now multiple combinations होते हैं, बट आपको एक चीज समझना है कि थोड़ा सा आपको एक्सपीरियंस लगेगा अगर आप इस चीज को रोज एनालाइज करोगे। If you analyze this thing every day, if you see this skew, if you see this change in OI along with the market, आपको उड़ा जाएगा। One more thing, आपको अपने आप को एक बहुत मेजर क्वेश्चन पूछना है, क्या आप ट्रेडर हो या आप इंडेक्स ट्रेडर हो? मैं बहुत हम्बली रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, फोकस मोर ऑन द इंडेक्स, फोकस मोर ऑन द इंडेक्स। अगर आप निफ्टी बैंक निफ्टी करते हो तो आपको लार्जर ज्यादा डेटा मिलेगा, आपको लिक्विडिटी मिलेगी और आपको इंटरप्रिटेशन बेटर समझ में आएगा कंपेयर टू स्टॉक। स्टॉक्स के अंदर पोजीशनल बहुत ब्यूटीफुली वर्क होता है, दो आई विल शो यू एन एग्जांपल, चाहे इंट्राडे में वर्क करता है, पर अगर आप स्टॉक्स करते हो तो योर जॉब इज टू ओनली स्टिक टू लिक्विड यूनिवर्स, ठीक है। इंडेक्स इज बेटर। सो यू अंडरस्टैंड दैट अगर ओआई बढ़ा है एंड अलोंग विद दैट मार्केट मूव हुआ है तो मतलब स्मार्टर पीपल आर राइटिंग, ठीक है। Along with that, you should also understand that अगर उस सिचुएशन में वॉलेटिलिटी गिरी है तो मतलब मार्केट इज नॉट मच स्कैर्ड, मतलब मार्केट में अनसर्टेनिटी लेसर है, मतलब दिस इज व्हाट द लार्जर पार्टिसिपेंट आर एक्सपेक्टिंग। But whole idea here is that your job as a trader is to combine this data and understand. Now I'm going to show you more ways to combine this. So now the next is the visual tools. So जैसे मैंने आपको बताया तीनों चीजों को कंबाइन कर रहे हैं हम यहाँ पे, तीन चीज क्या कंबाइन कर रहे हैं, प्राइस, ओआई एंड आईवी। और ये एक टूल है जिसका नाम है माय एफएनओ, आई विल शो यू ना बिट। सी देखिए ये टूल के अंदर 8000 के फुट में हाईएस्ट हुआ है, 8500 के कॉल में, इसके बाद में जो सीधा आपका ओआई बन रहा है वो सीधा 7800 एंड उसके नीचे 7500 बन रहा है। नाउ वन मोर थिंग यू शुड ऑब्जर्व ओवर हियर दैट लुक एट द आईवीज, IV of a monthly and weekly options, that is definitely high. So this is a good idea for you to understand that monthly option has a higher vega. Why am I showing you this? For you to understand कि monthly option के में higher vega है। So अगर आप इंट्राडे में ऑप्शन बाय करना चाहते हो और अगर आप ऐसा सोचते हो कि वॉलेटिलिटी बढ़ेगी तो वीकली कंपेयर में मंथली बाय करिए, you know. Show you a website from where you can access this. So this is my FNO. See guys, I have zero financial interest when it comes to the my FNO or iCharts. I am showing you because it's a part of my workflow and I believe it is good. That's right. So ये देखिए my FNO, यहाँ से शो में से आपको वॉल्यूम हटा देना है, अभी आपका रेंज हो गया। अभी यहाँ से अगर आपको ऐसे This is your ICICI Bank. Now look at that. One thing, the first thing you look at when you look at the ICICI Bank, look at the 300 straddle. 300 के कॉल में वाई देखिए 8 लाख एंड 300 के पुट में वाई देखिए अगेन 8 लाख. तो इसकी वैल्यू क्या है 21 प्लस 35. तो इसकी वैल्यू ऑलमोस्ट 39 37 सॉरी 57 rupees. That means market is pricing this 57 rupees and long weekend somebody would have wrote this. आप समझ रहे हो. तो और यहाँ पे देखिए स्क्यू देखिए, इसको आप यहाँ से लेआउट को अगर लाइन करते हो आप ऐसे, तो आप देखिए आउट ऑफ द मनी ऑप्शंस एंड एट द मनी ऑप्शन के बीच में जो स्क्यू है वो बहुत ज्यादा नहीं है. मतलब नाउ द मार्केट पार्टिसिपेंट्स आर नॉट एक्सपेक्टिंग अ लार्जर मूव, स्पेशली आफ्टर द प्रीवियस फॉल. Especially after the previous fall. So that is what ICICI Bank is suggesting, and that is why 300 के call put में बहुत ज्यादा हुआ है. So that is definitely a good idea for you to go and sell the ICICI Bank का at the money strategy अगर आप intraday में. Now let me just open this 30 April. 300 का your call is 21 and your 300 put is about 35, 34 rupees. So I'm just rounding it off. So you're talking about 55 rupees of a move. Now let us look at the IV. 87 on the put side and 84 on the call side. And look at the theta. 57 paisa and here is 57. 1 rupees 20 paisa. So इसकी वैल्यू 3 रुपए तो ऐसे ही कम हो जाएगी on Monday और Tuesday जब मार्केट ओपन होगा by virtue of theta itself. तो अगर IV 86 ही रही तो इसकी वैल्यू कम हो जाएगी. And it gives you a large range. Now you go in where this triangle is giving you a range. So the reason I'm showing you this is because when you do this kind of a thing for any stock, it gives you much more clarity. अभी देखिए RBL बैंक के 160 के कॉल में हुआ देखिए और 100 के पुट में हुआ देखिए, सबकी अंडरलाइंग इज ट्रेडिंग एट 110. So 110 का पुट is definitely putting at high, right? So why you look at the ऑप्शन चेन, यू आर लुकिंग एट दी डिफरेंट एक्सपायरीज. और क्योंकि हमारे पास इंडेक्स में वीकली और मंथली दोनों है, इट इज अ गुड आइडिया फॉर अस टू लुक एट दी IVSU इन वीकली एंड मंथली. ऑल्सो लुक एट द रेंज, ऑल्सो लुक एट द मनी स्ट्रगल क्या करता है. नाउ द नेक्स्ट थिंग व्हाट शुड लुक एट IV, प्राइस एंड OI, तीनों का चेंज देखना है. So this is an example of a Nifty wherein आप देखिए at the money straddle, you know your 8100 straddle, आप देखिए उसके कॉल की प्राइस कितनी ज्यादा गिरी है कंपेयर टू पुट की बढ़ी है. That means along with the market going down, huge volatility crush was happening at the money. So that tells you what, the option buyers on the put side were not making money on the at least Friday, at least at the money के अराउंड में. दूसरी चीज आपको ये समझनी है कि देखिए लुक एट द IV क्रश अक्रॉस द बोर्ड. OTM ऑप्शन में कम हुआ है लेकिन एट द मनी ऑप्शन में ज्यादा हुआ है. मतलब मार्केट वाज फॉलिंग ऑन द कंफर्ट, पीपल वर नॉट, मतलब पीपल वर ओके विद द फॉल. दैट इज व्हाट इट्स इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑफ दिस थिंग. एंड OI ऐड कहां हुआ है, your 7800 put and your this guy, and this has witnessed a IV change, this has witnessed IV change. So intraday के अंदर में yesterday was not a day of an option buyer. That's I could tell you from looking at the data, and that is what the clear thing I can tell you from looking at the data. And what it also means is that कि जब आप इस तरह का एनालिसिस कर रहे हो तो आप अपने आप को उस चीज के लिए समझ रहे हो कि now guys, now IVs are coming down across board, weekly और monthly दोनों की आ रही है. तो अभी it's actually not a great idea to buy a monthly option, and that's where I am telling you now a $1 million tip. Because IVs are coming down, it is good idea to have a option which has got a lesser vega. आप समझे, इंट्राडे में ये समझना आपके लिए जरूरी है कि IV का ट्रेंड क्या है. करंटली IV का ट्रेंड ये बोल रहा है कि वोलेटिलिटी कम हो रही है. तो जब वोलेटिलिटी कम हो रही है तो आप क्यों वो वाले ऑप्शन खरीदोगे जिसके अंदर में आपको डैमेज ज्यादा होगा. तो मंथली में भी 60% कम हुआ है और वीकली में भी 60% कम हुआ है. अब अगर मंथली का वेगा दिख रहा है आपको कैलकुलेटर? यस। सो अगर मंथली का वेगा लेट्स से 15 रुपए था और 7 का कम हुआ है, उसकी वैल्यू 105 रुपए से कम हुई है, और सपोज वीकली का 5 रुपए का वेगा था तो उसकी वैल्यू 35 रुपए से कम हुई है। Are you understanding the whole point? So on the Vega front, you should have made, or you should have lost lesser if you would have had a weekly option relative to the monthly option. But obviously, we are not yet looking at the theta, but I'm just trying to tell you from a Vega point of view. One more thing you should also remember, that right now I am just trying to tell you how to analyze this thing. We'll be putting all this thing into perspective and we'll be forming a theory. और दूसरी चीज आपको ध्यान में रखनी है, देयर इज नॉट डेफिनेटिव वे कि यही चलेगा या ये नहीं चलेगा। जब ओपन इंटरेस्ट बढ़ता है या गिरता है, उसके साथ में प्राइस में क्या हुआ, उसके साथ में आईवी में क्या हुआ, उसके साथ में दूसरे मंथ की या दूसरे वीक की आईवी में क्या हुआ, वो भी आपको देखना है। इसीलिए डेटा ये सब जरूरी है। करेक्ट, इसमें मंथली और वीकली दोनों है। ठीक है, सो लेट मी do option chain for you to understand. ये है ऑप्शन चेन एंड आई एम यूजिंग दिस आई चार्ट फॉर यू टू अंडरस्टैंड, आपको थोड़ा अच्छे से समझ में आए। किया मैंने और मैंने उसको 9th अप्रैल किया। ठीक है गाइस, जस्ट पे अटेंशन टू वेगा नाउ 8100, लुक एट द वेगा, इधर 4 रुपए ये वेगा, राइट? नाउ लेट मी जस्ट मेक इट 30 अप्रैल और 8100 का यहाँ वेगा देखिए, यहाँ वेगा एक्सैक्टली डबल है। तो आईबी का मार्क मंथली वाले को ज्यादा लगा है देन वीकली वाला। अभी रिसेंटली आफ्टर माय ईएम वीडियो, लॉट ऑफ द पीपल हैव स्टार्टेड विदाउट अंडरस्टैंडिंग द बेसिक सेम स्ट्रेटजी एंड दे डोंट नो द बेसिक्स। सो अभी अगर आप मंथली ऑप्शन बाय कर रहे हो तो आपको मार्क लगेगा। दिस इज नॉट अ गुड टाइम फॉर यू टू हैव अ monthly option long because the volatility is coming down and the vega is higher more over there, right? So आपको एक चीज ध्यान रखनी है कि the whole idea of this all thing is to seeing in everything in a conjunction. Okay, now this is the most important thing, which is the option metrics. And before I take this, I would like to take a 2 minutes break. I'll drink some water. You guys take a break, drink some water. We will come at about 5 will come 2-3 minutes. Let us take a 2 minutes break. Okay, guys, so I'm back. I hope you had some water like me. This is the most important thing for our intraday traders from our data reading point of view, and I want you to focus here. The way and a lot of our charts, the way I analyze things revolves around this thing. और मैं चाहता हूँ आप इसको अच्छे से समझें. इस चीज को आप अच्छे से समझें और आपको जब इस चीज को समझना है तो कीप योर कीप योर माइंड ओपन बिकॉज बहुत सारी चीजें इंट्यूटिव ना रहेगी आपके लिए. फाइन. तो ये जो स्क्रीन जो देख रहे हो आप, ये ब्यूटीफुल स्क्रीन है और इस स्क्रीन को मैट्रिक्स कहते हैं. एंड ये जो मैट्रिक्स है, ये मैट्रिक्स का सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज ये है कि इसमें इंट्राडे में आपको ऑप्शंस का आईवी, प्राइस और ओआई तीनों चीज दिख रही है. ठीक है, तो लेट मी जस्ट हाईलाइट अ बिट. ठीक है, तो ये 17200 है और ये 17200 स्ट्राइक का कॉल है. तो यहाँ पे सबसे पहले चीज आपको देखनी है कि 7200 का ये जो येलो है, दिस येलो, दैट इज एन ओपन इंटरेस्ट. ये जो ब्लैक लाइन है दैट इज अ प्राइस और ये जो पिंक है दैट इज एन आईवी. सो पिंक इज आईवी, दिस येलो इज ओआई एंड दिस ब्लैक लाइन इज द प्राइस. ठीक है, सो ये क्या कर रहा है, ये अब अंडरलाइन नहीं दिखा रहा, अब आपको दिखा रहा है ऑप्शन का प्राइस इटसेल्फ. और जब ऑप्शन का प्राइस दिखा रहा है तो आपको क्या दिखा रहा है, और आपको ये समझा रहा है कि थ्रू आउट द डे धीरे 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 करके ऑप्शन की प्राइस गिरी, ओआई टुवर्ड्स मिड सेशन के बाद स्केल अप हुआ और आईवी भी नीचे आई, दैट वाज 17200. नाउ इफ यू सी, if you look at any other thing, let me just, yeah, if you look at now 17500, now this is the best example. आप देखिए यहाँ पे मैंने कुछ एरो बनाए हुए हैं आपके लिए. look at this now, देखिए प्राइसेस रैपिडली गिर रहे हैं, ओआई कांस्टेंट बढ़ रहा है और आईवी यहाँ पे इतना नहीं गिरा. लेकिन यहाँ पे देखिए आईवी थ्रू आउट द डे नीचे आ रहा है, ओआई बढ़ रहा है, प्राइस गिर रहा है, आईवी भी नीचे आई, प्राइस भी नीचे आई, ओआई रैपिडली बढ़ा. तो यहाँ देखिए 12 पॉइंट से आईवी कम हुई, 89,000 ऑफ ओआई एडिशन हुआ एंड इतने रुपए से आपकी प्राइस नीचे आई. व्हाट इट ऑल मींस, इट ऑल मींस दैट इन अ शॉर्टर टर्म ऑन अ बैंक निफ्टी ह्यूज कॉल राइटर है हैपनिंग. ये चीज आपको रियल टाइम ड्यूरिंग द डे में रोज देखना है अगर आपको ढंग का ऑप्शन ट्रेडिंग करना है तो. इन दिस केस just so let's clean this a bit. ये देखिए नीचे जो एग्जांपल है वो निफ्टी का है. अब मैं उसको आपको जूम करके देता हूँ, निफ्टी में क्या चीज समझ में आ रहा है. अब ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट स्क्रीन है फ्रॉम योर पर्सपेक्टिव. आपको जब ऑप्शन बाइंग करना है तो आपको एक चीज समझनी है कि अगर ड्यूरिंग द डे ह्यूज ओआई एडिशन हो रहा है, राइट, ह्यूज ओआई एडिशंस आर हैपनिंग एंड द प्राइस इज गोइंग डाउन, द आईवी इज गोइंग डाउन, वो ऑप्शन में बाय करके पैसा नहीं बनेगा. मैं बताऊंगा ये कहाँ अवेलेबल है. जस्ट गिव मी गाइस, don't ask questions right now, focus on what I'm teaching, you know, otherwise you will miss the concept. तो ये देखिए वाई बढ़ा, आईवी गिरा, प्राइस गिरा एंड दिस इज द मोस्ट ब्यूटीफुल चार्ट. ये कहाँ अवेलेबल है सबसे पहले तो मैं दिखा देता हूँ. पहले आप ये समझ लीजिए कि मैं बताना क्या चाह रहा हूँ. ठीक है, what I'm trying to show you over here is I'm trying to show you a situation where I'm trying to show you a situation where the OI additions are happening, IVs are declining and the price is going down. So upside जो था निफ्टी के केस में, this is a call side. So ये OI चेंज है, ये IV चेंज है और ये आपका प्राइस चेंज है. तीनों चीजें यहाँ पे. और ये है पुट साइड. तो आप देखिए निफ्टी के 8000 के पुट में प्राइसेस बाय एंड लार्ज वही है, OI गिरा, आईवी भी गिरी, मतलब ओआई थोड़ा सा ही बढ़ा है. व्हाट इट मींस, even though there was a market going down, 8000 put being returned and IV has come down. मतलब 3 दिन की छुट्टी में this writers were very sure about managing their position. One. Second thing, they were finding a premium very very expensive, and that is why they were writing. Right? तो आपको as an option buyer, जब आप ये चीज देख रहे हो, even though the market was going down, you could have not made money buying this put option. Full stop. On the other hand, you could have made money here or probably here. Why? Because of the delta, because of some other thing. But आपके लिए जो, और दूसरी चीज जो यहाँ पे नोटिसेबल चीज है, क्योंकि ओवाई में अनवाइंडिंग हुआ है, आपको दिख रहा है, ये सिंपल चीज है, लेकिन जो प्रेजेंटेशन है वो बहुत अच्छा है, और मैं चाहता हूँ उस प्रेजेंटेशन को आप अप्रिशिएट करें, समझें. Once again, let me repeat you that I have zero financial interest when I'm showing you this tool. I use it from last so many years. I find it decent in my workflow, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. मैं जब खुद करता हूँ तो मैं क्या करता हूँ, मैं आपसे दिखा रहा हूँ. तो let us just go and understand कि ये चीज कैसे दिखती है. तो let me just clear the screen. So ये जो स्क्रीन है, ये आपके माय एफएनओ में वेबसाइट पे ऑप्शंस में मैट्रिक्स में दिखेगा. दिख रहा है आपको? ये देखिए, ये जो स्क्रीन है, मुझे इसको थोड़ा सा जूम आउट करके आपको थोड़ा सा हाईलाइट करना, थोड़ा सा ओवरलैपिंग लगेगा क्योंकि मैंने आपके लिए थोड़ी सी स्क्रीन जूम आउट की है, बिकॉज़ आई एम ऑपरेटिंग एट हाई रेजोल्यूशन. लुक एट दिस नाउ. This is a call side. Constant throughout the day, call OI has gone up. In fact, this guy has come down, but this guy has gone up, gone up, gone up. So that means 83 has shifted down. And यहाँ पे addition हुआ है. On the other hand, put में देखिए, OTM puts are not. Why? इस यहाँ पे that is where you add a third dimension to your OI analysis, which is show IV. अभी आप देख रहे हैं? The one thing you should notice is across options, the IV has gone down. What it means, if a buyer of an option who's trying to buy the option and try to make money was not able to make money because the IVs were going down. Second thing, the OI was going up, so there was definitely writing. Now, ये जो option chain है फिलहाल आप देख रहे हो, ये है monthly 30th April का. Let me just clear. Let me show you a weekly OI unwinding happening. ये आपका वीकली ऑप्शन चेन है. अभी देखिए वीकली में तो और एग्रेसिव चीज हुई है. वीकली में क्या हुआ, देखिए वीकली में along with your OI going down, ठीक है, along with your OI going down, your prices have not gone anywhere. In fact, prices have crushed like anything, you know. Look at the prices now. The prices have crushed like anything. So what is the inference from this? When you look this during the live market, you are getting a feeling that where the OI is heading, what is the writers are doing. You can start. So okay, I'm going to answer that which is going to be profitable. I will answer this in some time. But first of all, you start appreciating one simple fact that यहाँ पे कर मैं बताना क्या चाह रहा हूँ, मैं आपको ये चीज बताना चाह रहा हूँ first and foremost कि जब प्राइसेस नीचे जा रही थी, when the market was falling, it was falling on the back of the falling in IV and falling in the or rising in the OI. मतलब the OI was adding on the writing side. So it was the writer who was making money. Writer was making money. So अगर आप बायर थे और इंट्राडे में आप बाय कर रहे थे एट द मनी या स्लाइटली आउट ऑफ द मनी लेके, you would have had a difficult time making money. Yes, it's a live during the market. There is a some 30 seconds kind of a lag, but you can use it. You can definitely use this kind of a tool. Yeah, this is the tool, a part of my workflow, and I use it a lot. That is the reason I am showing you. आपको एक चीज हमेशा से याद रखनी है, आपको एक चीज हमेशा से याद रखनी है कि ये टूल को जब आप यूज करो तो आपको ये समझना है कि where the market is shifting. Where the market is shifting in your direction or market is shifting in some other direction. ठीक है, fine. So This is the most reliable tool I have seen when it comes to the OI analysis during the live market. Now let us shift it to Bank Nifty. अब देखिए बैंक निफ्टी में क्या है, बैंक निफ्टी में तो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज, लुक एट द कॉल्स का क्रश, माय गॉड, huge addition in the call side and IV being crushed. On the other hand, the puts are not that bad. And look at the IV crush on the put side. My God, huge, huge, huge. So what it means, boss, in a very shorter term, put IVs are crushing like anything, and that is what indicating in a very shorter term, puts are being returned even though the market is going down, and that will be managed. People will be able to manage their position. So the whole point of me showing you this is to give you a feeling कि जब आप ओना एनालिसिस करो तो आप इसको कैसे यूज कर सकते हो, और डेटा रीडिंग बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट कंसेप्ट होता है फ्रॉम अ ट्रेडिंग पर्सपेक्टिव. फाइन. नाउ व्हाट इज द नेक्स्ट थिंग व्हिच इज द ऑप्शन चेन. जो मैंने अभी तक आपको ऑप्शन चेन दिखाया था, वो ऑप्शन चेन के अंदर मैं आपको डेल्टा वेगा दिखा रहा था. इन दिस ऑप्शन चेन आई एम शोइंग यू अ वेरी सिंपल टूल व्हिच इज कहां ओआई ऐड हुआ, कहां आईवी हुआ. तो आप ऑप्शन ये कर रहे थे, ये वाली, इसको आप ऑप्शंस में जाइए और ऑप्शंस पे यहां पे क्लिक करिए. Okay, now just select the symbol whichever you want. In this case, I'm making ICICI Bank. In this case, my highest OI is 400 call and put side 300 put. But now look at that, 300 put has witnessed a 149,000 OI unwinding. Along with that, the IV is being unwinded. So that means market was going down, the put was unwinding, and IV was coming down. That is the inference which you have to understand. Now, whole the point over here is that आपके लिए the most important thing over here is that कहाँ unwind add हुई है, कहाँ add हुआ है, कहाँ high is. In a one single click you can figure it out. So let me just make it a Nifty for you. Look at the Nifty. Nifty is showing you highest OI at 8,000. 8,000 put is being added. So when is the highest OI added? Now you just click on OI change. Highest OI added in 7,800 put. IV has unwinded. Now where is the highest OI? The OI is standing at this is range 8,000, 9,000, and this triangle is giving you. So this is the 9,000 is definitely not making sense because it is almost a 5 rupees, but this is making sense. So this is also giving you 7,800 to 70, 85, 80. So that is the range that you're talking about from a option chain perspective. So the reason I'm showing you option chain is that same data is reflecting in option chain also. But when you're looking at the same data, you are analyzing it from a perspective of where the immediate actions are happening. Over there, you're visually seeing that, and visually is definitely it is helping you to understand it more. Now, look at the Bank Nifty data. And in the Bank Nifty, the thing which I was trying to highlight you, that price was falling, and look at the IV. Huge crush was happening in the IV. So in last so many days, we have started seeing the volatility being unwinded and OI add OI. So this is your analysis around the option data, analysis around what is happening with these strikes, where the OI is adding, what is happening with the volatility when it comes to the option chain. Okay. Now let us look at what is the IV analysis tells you, and even though you are an intraday option buyer, how this is going to help you. So this chart is chart from our website icharts.in, and iCharts, if you go to options tool, and in that when you go to the IV comparison, it has got a very beautiful feature which I would like to highlight, is that in a situation like this where the IV is rising and historical moves are also happening, what to do? So the interpretation of IV is falling and the price and OI is falling. That means market is going down with a lesser concern. It's not fear, and at the same time, the OI is unwinding. That means the people in a shorter run are running, but the Vega people who would have wrote the option for volatility are making money. So in a very immediate point of view, the interpretation is that buying those options is not going to make sense from a IV point of view. One. Second thing, the interpretation of that thing is that in a shorter term, when the markets is falling, the market is falling on a lesser concern. It is not as concerned as it was 10 days back. Okay, and when the prices of the premium is falling, obviously it is meaning that options is being, eroding its value because of the time value and because of the vega. So delta moves are not bigger compared to the vega and the theta moves. Correct? Okay. Now let's look at the IV comparison, which is, see, this situation. In this situation, when I'm talking about IV is implied volatility, HV is the historical volatility. Guys, all the people who are asking me to explain again, I would request you that please go and you would have access to recording. You can look at again because we are running out of time. I have to finish the long presentation within the time of a 2.5 hour. 2 hour is for presentation, half an hour for the Q&A. So you can please go and look at the presentation again if you have not understood the concept. Now, you have to understand that in this situation, when you're talking about implied volatility, you should understand that how much IV is giving you the interpretation. So whenever the historical volatility is bigger, it is telling you that the implied moves are smaller. So अगर आपकी 10 दिन का move बड़ा आ रहा है, that means it already tells you that in a shorter run, the move is larger than what market is pricing. While you guys may be feeling that why am I showing you IV, but guys, please understand, Surjit, this is for you. You understand that if you don't understand IV, how are you going to understand the call put? What do you expect, that you simply going to go buy and call and put and it's going to start making money? No. You have to understand that in a shorter term, if you don't understand the data point, how are you going to utilize the data point to make money? So in a shorter term, where the implied moves are lesser than the historical move, that only means that market is not pricing the larger move, and that is what is happening. Look at this chart. This is a very beautiful chart for you to understand. When the first time these started spiking, you look at this HV spiked in the same moves, and IV also spiked, and now look at your HV moves are bigger than the implied moves. So last 10 days moves are bigger than the implied moves. So from a last 10 days, your IV. So in the last 10 days, if you are option buyer, you would have not made money. That is what I'm trying to make you. And when you look at this analysis, you should also understand that now probably option buying is not a great idea in a very shorter term. But that doesn't mean that when I'm talking about option buying, I'm talking from a vega point of view. There is definitely something called a delta point of view, which we're going to cover in some time. Now, the last thing in a volatility analysis when you're buying an option is the skew, which I have already explained. That when you're looking at the skew, if the OTM options are very, very expensive compared to ATM option, that only means that market is pricing a larger move. And at times it will happen is some out of the money options or some factors will not give you some. This chart is from iCharts. Yeah. Some indicator will give you a larger idea, some indicator will not give. So you are looking that skew to understand that what a market is pricing the larger. Now, one of the last charts in the IV, PCR and OI is this chart. This chart is the chart of a ICICI Bank. If you look at the ICICI Bank is falling and the IVs are declining. So now option buyer on a put side will feel that options are expensive and Vega is not making money. Along with that, the put call ratio is also coming now. That means there is huge now a call writing happening. So this thing you have to understand from a perspective of a market where you are going to analyze the data before jumping into the trade. And now the main jumping of the trade and everything we're going to cover. We have still 1 hour to go. We will cover that in detail in some time. So Bank Nifty option chain metrics. OI is rising, price is declining, IV is declining. OI is rising, price is flat, IV is declining. Now, you understand that when the IVs is declining, it means that options which were expensive now becoming cheaper because the volatility is coming down. Because now the options Vega is not giving you money; it is the Delta giving you money. And this thing, if you don't want to see it from a Vega perspective, you just have to simply go to my FNO tool. In a matrix, and you should disable IV. Now you have only two options, which is what? One is the price and second is the Y. This is good from you to understand that which strike is adding what Y. So on the last day session, Y was adding huge on the call side and the put Y was largely flat along with the price going down. So it was the call writer who was giving, which was giving the, who was making the money, and put buyers were not able to make money. So you see, you should understand that when you are analyzing the price, you are not just simply jumping the trade. All the people who are expecting that I will just simply show you that this is what one thing you should do and make money, I will show you guys. Please have a patience, but also understand that a large reason why I'm a profitable option trader, is because of the data analysis which I do, and I'm explaining you in very very detail over here. How do you take it? It's up to you. If you find this repetitive, and if you find this thing, this, then probably the next session is going to make more sense for you. Okay, now the next is which strike to buy. Now a lot of the people feel that, boss, a lot of the people who feels that, yeah, the reason I had to tell that, because somebody says that this is 1 hour 20 minutes has passed and so far this is a call put webinar or a IV webinar. Guys, please understand that if you don't understand the IV, how are you expecting to make money from an option? And it's really amusing for me to understand that people want to buy options but they don't want to understand the implied volatility. So I mean, my sympathy is with them. Okay, which strike to buy. Now, next thing which you should understand is that which strike to buy. You should understand that options is a function of volatility, and when you buy an option, you are definitely doing two things, which is you're buying delta and you're buying some sort of vega. Now, this is the most important thing, and you have to understand if you want to consistently make money over here. So when you buy an option, a delta should be in your side first thing, right? Delta is the change in your option price with respect to change in the underlying. When you buy option, you should have a higher delta. So that is the first thing you should keep in mind. When you buy an option, you should have a higher delta. You should have a higher delta. Your delta should be high. So if your delta is, let's say, a 0.7, that means with every 1 rupee, you will make a 70 paisa. Okay? That is simple. Now, if your delta is 0.2, with every 1 rupee, you will only make a 20 paisa. That is also you should understand. Now, you should also, first, you should also understand that, you should also understand that delta is varies when how much days to expiry is there. So if you are closer to expiry, or at least you are on expiry day, you should not trade below 0.7 delta. 0.5, 0.7 के नीचे काम ही नहीं करने का. Simple. On an expiry day, don't trade 8 the money. That is my suggestion. Again, डेल्टा कितना लेना चाहिए वो डिपेंड करता है आप कितना बड़ा मूव एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हो. सो फॉर अ बिगर मूव, स्लाइड ओटीएम और एटीएम चलेगा, बट फॉर अ स्मॉलर मूव, स्पेशली द काइंड ऑफ पीपल वी आर व्हिच आर इंट्राडे बायर ऑप्शन, you should understand that 0.6 0.5 डेल्टा हैज टू बी देयर. डेल्टा आपको कहां मिलेगा देखने के लिए मैंने ऑलरेडी आपको दिखा दिया ऑप्शन चेन के अंदर में. You can use a websites like iCharts, or you can use simply your logic in terms of in the money. Now, the next is, what is the delta value? And this is the very very important. I don't know how much time I should explain this to you. That when you do an option buying, you are actually buying vega, because in whether you buy a call or put, the vega is always the पॉजिटिव. सो व्हेन यू बाय ऑप्शन योर वेगा इज पॉजिटिव. सपोज आपने निफ्टी के 10 लॉट बाय किए हैं और एक ऑप्शन का 30 रुपए का वेगा है, तो योर टोटल वेगा इज 22,500. सो अगर एक पॉइंट आईवी कम हुई तो आपके 22,500 रुपए कम हो जाएंगे. सिंपल. तो तो बेस्ट पार्ट क्या है आप समझिए. अभी अगर आपकी निफ्टी की सपोज आपने पुट खरीदा और मार्केट गिरा, आपके फेवर में गया, लेकिन अगर वॉलेटिलिटी गिरी तो 22,500 की विगत की वजह से आपको पैसा नहीं बनता है. ठीक है. On the other hand, if the volatility rises, you are making money, and that is the reason when the market was falling and you were buying a put option, you were making money because market was falling and IV was also rising. Now it is not happening that way. Why? Because market is falling and IV is falling. So आपको करना क्या है? How to mitigate this? The answer lies in this slide, which is delta value. तो अगर आप डेल्टा खरीदते हो तो strike delta multiply by the lot size multiply by number of lot tells you the delta value. You should also understand that whenever you trade, you trade 0.7, 0.6 delta, so your value becomes higher. So in इस केस में ये अगर मैंने बैंक निफ्टी का एग्जांपल दिया है तो यहाँ पे आप समझिए कि बैंक निफ्टी के एग्जांपल के अंदर अगर आपकी डेल्टा वैल्यू 140 होती है तो आप ₹1 के साथ 140 बनाओगे. तो अब अगर आपका ₹300 का टारगेट है, अगर आपका ₹300 का टारगेट है, 42,000 शुड बी योर रुपी टारगेट. You understand that? Now you should understand that one point IV is important along with the delta value. तो अब अगर IV दोनों चीज आपको करनी पड़ेगी. मैं आपको एग्जांपल दे सकता हूँ इस चीज का, but we have to go into the setup because we are already like 1.5 hour into the presentation and a lot of people are getting anxious कि मुझे बाई सेल तो बताया नहीं है, तो सब थियरी है. But guys ये सबसे प्रैक्टिकल चीज है. अगर आपको ये समझ में नहीं आया तो आपको कुछ समझ में नहीं आएगा. Please trust me on that. There are a few questions. Let me take it. Jaydeep is asking, that's why one webinar you suggested that to trade first hour and last hour. Correct. That is the reason I suggest always this. Thank you so much, Hariman Sahul. For option sell, what delta value should be considered? Whoever is an option seller should consider a 0.2, 0.25 delta because the probability would be on your side. Chetan Bhai is asking 1% IV, how much Vega, how to calculate. So let me just take a one to explain you that how would you find out. Okay, we will go into setup and how to buy and you will be blown away when I'll show that. But before that, first understand this. This is a website of iCharts. I'm showing you this option chain is very beautiful. Okay, अब देखिए यहाँ पे कैसे घिरा हुआ है. चलिए देखिए मार्केट चल रहा था, लेट्स से मार्केट है 8100 फॉर एग्जांपल. और अब अगर आप बहुत एग्रेसिव हो, आप क्या करते हो, 7500 का पुट ऑप्शन ले लेते हो. यस, मेरे ख्याल से ये मंथली है. Yeah, it's a monthly option. Let me just make it a weekly for you guys. Yes. ठीक है. So market चल रहा है 8100. Let's say at the money is at the 8100. और आपने 7500 का 55 रुपए में पुट ले लिया. सपोज कि डेल्टा की वैल्यू कहां पे यहाँ पे -0.26. तो अब अगर 100 पॉइंट गिरेगा तो इसकी वैल्यू 26 रुपए से बढ़ेगी. एज सिंपल एज दैट. उसके कंपेयर में लुक एट योर वेगा. योर वेगा इज ₹3.40. तो अगर एक पॉइंट आईवी बढ़ेगी तो 3.5 रुपए आपके बढ़ेंगे. अब इसके कंपेयर में 8100 के पुट के कंपेयर में मैंने 8400 का पुट लिया, ये वाला. नाउ लुक एट माय डेल्टा इज 0.57 एंड माय वेगा इज ₹4. अब अगर मार्केट गिरता है 100 पॉइंट, मुझे 57 रुपीज यहां मिलेगा और एक पॉइंट वॉलेटिलिटी पे मुझे ₹4 मिलेगा. So as an option buyer, always look to buy a higher delta. As an option seller, look to sell a lower delta. Thumb rule. You should also look to have a Vega according to the current market situation. ठीक है. और the example which I have given you in my presentation over here, just look at this example. This will explain you कि आपकी डेल्टा वैल्यू कितनी बनती है. आपकी स्ट्राइक मल्टीप्लाई बाय क्वांटिटी मल्टीप्लाई बाय लॉट साइज will tell you डेल्टा इतना पैसा आपको बनेगा. ठीक है. Now on an expiry day, the one thing which you should understand, in an intraday option, one of the most important. Yes, I'm coming to that. Don't be impatient. I'm coming to that in a those things. We are coming to setup. The setup is going to take some time before you understand the basics. On an expiry day, on an expiry day, in fact, understand that I'm running behind presentation. We are only halfway to presentation, so we might overshoot our time also. Now understand that on an expiry day, you should observe what is the intrinsic value. So अगर आप लोगों को पता हो तो whoever has traded with me on a live trading session on a last day, what I did, मैंने जाके 8300 का कॉल ऑप्शन ले लिया था बैंक निफ्टी में. क्यों लिया था? उसका रीजन ये था कि उसकी इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू अगर मार्केट 85 चल रहा था तो उसकी 200 रुपए होनी चाहिए थी, जबकि वो चल रहा था 150 रुपए. So that was the reason. So on an expiry day, you are looking for options where there is a inefficiency, which is trading below fair value. So spot minus strike should be the option price. Just a minute, please. On an expiry day, spot minus strike should be the value of option. As simple as that. उससे ज्यादा होना चाहिए. तो अगर बार उससे नीचे चल रहा है तो मतलब it is trading below fair value. And if it is trading below fair value, that means that is your sign कि शायद वहां पे मूव हो सकता है. Yes, sometimes, a lot of times, option doesn't trade below fair value because writers are there, they are trying to defend the price. There can be 1,000 reasons. So let's look at the next thing. Underlying or option chart. Now, this is where you will start seeing the charts, and I think a lot of the people who doesn't want to understand the Greeks would understand. Okay, now you will start understanding that what it means. Guys, please don't ask questions right now because we have a long way to go to the presentation. We will take your questions afterwards. Now, underlying versus option chart. See, in my opinion, which one should I get a lot of this question? Should I look at option chart or should I look at underlying chart? In my opinion, both the things matters. In shorter term, definitely. But eventually, you should always remember that underlying definitely matters more. On an expiry day, option also gives you a good indication. So now, this is where the chart comes into the picture. This is an example of a Nifty future chart of 26 March in 8700 call, which is at the money. Now look at things over here. Market opens here, expiry रहती है 8300, suddenly starts rallying. और 8700 कॉल देखिए, वॉलेटिलिटी 20 रुपए वाला 150, 150 से 20 रुपए वापस 130 और वापस 0. How wild the swings are happening. This is the first thing which I'm trying to explain you, that on an expiry day, market 8300 था, OTM कॉल में फर्स्ट हाफ में कितना ब्यूटीफुल मूव आया. So understand that OTM options are having a huge move in the first half because there is a time still. But as the time progressed, they started losing its value. So on an expiry day, it was a good idea for you to consider something as a at the money option. So this is Nifty chart. Nifty यहाँ open हुआ, and look at this over here. Just सबसे important चीज था. Let me just highlight a bit again. Market open हुआ, ऊपर गया. Throughout the day, OI is increasing. Market open हुआ, ऊपर गया 8700, but इसके ऊपर जाने के साथ OI बढ़ ही रहा है इसका. During the day, you are constantly adding the OI in the 8700 call option. What it means? It means that 8700 call option is being constantly written even though the market was going high. And one time, two times, three times, four times you failed at 8700. And that's where this guy goes from 120 to 10. So if you would have been buying an OTM option, you would have definitely had a good time in the first half, but second half you would have had no good time. Look at the now 26 March का same का 8200 का call example. Market opens, market goes up. This guy opens at 300, goes to 550, comes down, but still above the open price, goes up. goes down, again goes up. So towards the end, it still retains its value because on an expiry day, this remains in the money call option. तो आपके लिए सबसे important चीज and the most important thing for you was in this thing. Look at this. What is this? This is the OI on the constant basis going down. That means the writers were running from the position on the expiry day. Now let us look at the more example. This is the 8200 and 8500 put option. Market open हुआ 8500 put option. 250 वाला सीधा 50 हो गया. 50 से 150 होता है and zero. Look at this guy opens and look at the open interest over here. Throughout the day rising, and over here it declines towards the closing. So this guy 8200 8500 put option, this was written since morning itself. It tells you that when the market opened, even though it managed to go above 8700, these 8500 writers were very sure of defending their position, and that's why they never panicked during the day. And this fall, eventually this fall, this crossover was the indicator where the expiry was headed. The reason I'm showing you this, after you understand the basic of intrinsic value, IV, option dynamics, you start looking at the OI from a strike and from an underlying point of view. Now, this is one of the very good indicator which I use a lot in my day-to-day usage, which is OI crossovers. So what is this OI crossover? This is an example of 8200 call option. तो आप देखिए जैसे ही towards the close prices crosses this 8200 OI and it OI starts drifting down. देखिए पूरे दिन गिर रहा है. First attempt over here did not resulted in a large move, and over here when the final crossover comes, prices goes from 250 to 550 and unwinding happening. So in the index is also making a lot of sense. So throughout the day, OI was increasing, and finally when the prices breaks, so red line is the OI and the blue line is the price. Red line is the OI and the blue line is the price. So price to OI crossover on an expiry day is one of the very good indicators. Where to find this? Let me show you the source. So iCharts pe, if you can go options and you go to options monitor. Look at this. Red line is your OI and blue line is your price. Compared to my FNO, iCharts has made it presentable good. I'm not sure Shrikant is here. If Shrikant is here, Shrikant, I'm not sure why there is this big swings are coming in open interest, and that is what something which is you need to look at it. You know, this is not a genuine dip. It seems like, you know, but this is there is a crossover here. You know, and you can select any strikes. You can select any strikes and you can make it. You know, so let's say let us make it 8400, and for put size let's make it a 8000. Yeah, so that spikes is something which you need to look at. Shrikant has answered, it's a bug in the data processing. We are in the process of fixing it. Thank you, Shrikant. Shrikant is a founder at iCharts, and I'm so happy to have him here. Welcome, Shrikant. So what are you looking here, guys? You're looking for crossovers on the price, and you're looking for the crossover in the price, and you're looking for the crossover in the OI. And the way we deal it gives you a signal. It gives you a very good signal. I've already shown you. So how to look at? First of all, what should be your tool? I will show you in some time. Now that you know basics, now you know Greeks, now you know how option dynamics works, now you know what is Vega in your favor, Delta is in your favor. So the first thing I was trying to show you, the reason this chart I showed you, that if you would have bought an OTM call on the expiry day, definitely the odds were not in your favor. Next, look at the OI. Throughout the day, this guy has added OI, so that means it is being written. One more thing you should also look at over here is that look at comparatively how in the money option was behaving. That was behaving much more stable, and this OI is giving an indication that it is being written. एक और चीज आपको देखनी है कि पुट क्या कर रहा है. So जब मार्केट गिर रहा है, देखिए ये है 8500 का पुट ऑप्शन, और ये है 80-200 का put option. So compared to your out of the money put option, this guy is much better, which is your in the money put option. Though it expired, but it gives you a much better signal. On an expiry day, you are looking for a crossover of the price and OI. That gives you an indication because that tells you after 2 o'clock where the markets are heading. You know, so rapidly. How to interpret this? If the rapidly we see a price crossing over the OI, that means OI has been unwinding and price is running. That means huge short covering is happening. That is your indication. This chart is nothing but that. There's one more chart. This is an index chart, Nifty. Look at that, how the OI is being heavily added, and all of a sudden, when the unwinding starts, you witness a large short covering. Now, let us look at this thing. This is a 8600 put chart. Look at this. How after 230 over here. Look at this cross over here. And this is where you have to start looking for the option buy. And since you are an option buyer, you are looking. Now, why? Okay, a lot of people were impatient. Lot of people were impatient that guys, why am I showing the option basics and ये IV का presentation है या call put का presentation है. Guys, अगर आपको पता ही नहीं है कि expiry के दिन पे कौन सा आपको खरीदना है, आपको खरीदना है इन द मनी ऑप्शन, आपको खरीदना है डेल्टा, आपको खरीदना है जहां पे मार्केट जा रहा है. तो देखिए 8600 के पुट में ये देखिए सुपर मूव आता है. यू आर लुकिंग एट दैट सुपर मूव, एंड व्हेन यू आर लुकिंग एट वन साइड मूव, द सेकंड साइड इज डेफिनेटली इन योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग, राइट? सो दिस crossover tells you that how it works in your favor. We have a Shrikant here, and probably you can go to the website iCharts.in. It has got a very wonderfully designed this tool. You can use this tool for you can use this tool for your own benefit. Now, this slide has only one statement: look for consolidation, breakout, and breakdown. So when you're looking for a support and resistance, you're looking for a support and resistance from a perspective of a breakout and breakdown. So now I'm showing you a few more charts. So this is the 9th April 8000 call option example. And in this case, you're looking at the chart. This is कल का example, मेरे ख्याल से Friday का example है. When I say that don't short call, shorting call was not a good idea. That was my statement. And a lot of people told me for that also, but mine had a logic. The reason I had a logic, let me tell you what was the logic. So, since morning, after the morning, market was flirting around the VWAP. And you form this triangle pattern. And this is your call option. And this call option, 8000 call option, is being 3 times failed from the VWAP. So in this case, when prices, I made about 90,000 in this trade, and I think I have shared my screenshot also. In this particular trade, when the price moved sharply above the VWAP and it cleared this thing, it moved sharp. And this is where the move came. From about 260 to 330. That was like a swift 60 rupees move. I wrote it along with my team member Dipanshu also bought it. We both made money, and that is the move we wrote it. I shared the screenshot also for this. Logic was very simple. You were flirting around the day, the prices were not going down, and you push above the VWAP, the triangle breaks, and it pushed higher. So that was. Now the reason you exited again, because अगर कोई चीज 3 बार फेल हुई है उसके बाद जाती है, it should not immediately break. So after this break, and this final attack, it should have not broken this in a one go. That was your exit point. So you are looking for both the charts. You are looking for the support and resistance both. In some time, I'm going to show you. In some time, I'm going to show you how this works exactly on the chart. Just give me some time, and probably if I have to extend the presentation, I will extend, because I have to give you a best. That is my effort, because this is our last presentation of a momentum series, and my job is to give you the best when it comes to the setups and everything. So next question comes is which option to buy. Does liquidity matters? Now look at here. So understand one thing, that liquidity is the most important thing when it comes to the options. So look for the round strikes. One, look for the lesser bid ask spread. And when VIX is high, look to trade in round strikes only. This is my example from trading last so many years, especially बैंक निफ्टी kind of instrument. जब भी मार्केट में वॉलेटिलिटी बहुत ज्यादा होता है तो क्या होता है, जो आपके नॉर्मल ऑड स्ट्राइक से उसमें लिक्विडिटी गायब हो जाता है, 20-20 30-30 रुपए का बिड स्प्रेड होता है. You as an option buyer will pay a 20 rupees higher. When you sell, you pay a 20 rupees lesser. So you would straight away lose the money. ठीक है. दूसरा IV would also hurt you. So your job is to look in the strikes which is round. Now, one more thing which you should also consider when you're trading option is you should look for a weekly versus monthly. So round strikes are the strikes like 8,000, 8,500, 9,000, 17,000, 17,500, 16,500, 18,500. These are the round strikes called, where there is a lesser bid ask could happen. Okay. This is a very important thing for you to understand from a perspective of a Vega. Another thing, when you buy a weekly option or when you buy a monthly option, you are actually buying a Vega, right? So buying monthly option is more logical when you expect volatility to rise, because more Vega, less theta. Weekly option should be preferred when IV is relatively low or you expect a volatility to crush. And if you want to carry option in expectation of larger move, monthly should be preferred. This is a pro tip. Write it down somewhere and follow whenever it comes. मेरे हिसाब से if you are a very shorter term trader, Parmeshwar is asking question, is data is good enough? I think data is far enough, but I'm going to show you some very good chart setup in some time. You will understand that how it should be used. Now the next question comes is, what should be the stop loss on the chart? In my opinion, stop loss on the option is a two-way process. One is on underlying basis or option itself also. But you are looking for a range of a support and resistance. And when you are looking for a range and support or resistance, what you're looking something like this. So this is an example of a 9th April Nifty or Friday's example, where 9th April is an expiry and Friday was the 3rd April. So look at that around the VWAP, how the Nifty was flirting. Now, when the price moved above this, it rapidly came below that. So over here, your stop loss, when you entered over here, your stop loss was this range low or this low or this VWAP itself, a very small stop loss. And when you sell here, again, your stop loss is going to be this high. Now, look at this example. This is a very, very big trap for people. I'm going to explain how to book profit in some time. We will cover that also. This is an example where anyone could have got trapped. This is an example of a bank nifty. Look at the bank nifty was forming a very beautiful wedge. This is a Friday's example. You were chopping around the VWAP. Look at that, how you were chopping around. You push out of this, you push above VWAP. You would have probably bought here. Like Nifty, you would have bought here. And this is where the move came, but this is where move did not came. So immediately when this range broke, you would have exited your position. In fact, you would have gone short also. I will tell you in some time. So the stop loss should be based on underlying. Stop loss can also be based on the option itself. Now, let us look at the indicator setup. What is the indicator setup that you are looking? You are looking at a multi-indicator model. Okay. For a direction, you are looking at MACD and VWAP, because above VWAP bullish or below VWAP bearish. MACD buy is bullish, MACD sell is bearish. You are looking for a strength. Strength ke liye VWAP is also used. Also ADX. The way I use ADX is to gauge that if ADX is above 30 or not, and plus DI and minus DI. For a confirmation also we are using a ADX. Now here I'm giving you an example which all you guys can relate. So this is an example of a upstocks. I have not used Falcon, I have not used Ami Broker, I have not used any setup. This is a free available broker platform, and in some time we will go and we will use this setup. So look at this. What is our setup? Okay, so this is our setup. Let me write it down for you guys. This works marvelously. I'm using it from last so many years. You are losing the price should be below VWAP for shorts. ठीक है? Price should be below calculator. जोन के नीचे होना चाहिए. ADX minus DI greater than 40 MACD sell. I will explain this. This is the 3-4 thing that you are looking at. Now, let me zoom it a bit for you guys. So, first thing first, you are looking at the price below Candler and below VWAP. So, in this case, your price is below Candler, below VWAP. The ADX moves above 30. ADX matlab this red line. They're looking at a red line, right? And this oscillator, which is oscillator, this is a 3-minute chart, guys. This is the 3-minute chart. For index, we use 3-minute chart. And your MACD sell. This is where you buy a put option. And you buy simply, अगर 17,400 चल रहा था market, you buy 2 strikes in the money. So you buy a 17,600 put option. And you hold it until to booking there is some rules. I will tell you what are the rules. But the reason you are buying 17,600 high delta first. Okay. Second thing is that when you're buying a 17,600, you are giving yourself an intrinsic value. It should have a minimum of 200 rupees of value. Second thing is that you are buying option which is already in the direction of a trend. So now we will go on a chart setup and we will verify this. That was an example of a bank Nifty. Bank Nifty sell, below VWAP, below Kelter, ADX में confirmation, MACD में sell, boom, 200 points. This is an example of ICICI Bank. Below Keltler, below VWAP, ADX above 30, MACD sell, buy around 292, boom, 8 rupees intraday. This is an example of IndusInd Bank. IndusInd Bank on the 3rd April. Morning opens from the small triangle, below VWAP, below Keltler, ADX above 30, MACD was already in sell, buy sell at 350, 360, boom, 40 rupees intraday. And at the same time, this is a 3-minute chart, 5 minutes. 5 minutes for stock, 3 minutes for index. When you at the same time, अगर आपने इसका IndusInd Bank का put लिया होता, from about 87 odd rupees, it goes to 105 rupees. So that's a huge move. That's about 30 rupees move on the option itself. So now let me show you that how practically you'll be able to do it. And we will take up some questions. Okay, so now, guys, the best thing about this, you don't require any paid software. Free is there. So you just open pro.opstocks.com. Right? You just take a live demo. You don't require even login over here. Right? You just open any free panel. So how to do that? You add a workspace, you name it. So let's say, let me give it create. So it creates a chart. The next thing, let me just zoom it a bit for you guys. Next thing, you click on add widget and you chart. This is a chart. Now let us open Nifty. Nifty future. Okay, make it a 3-minute. Just make a little bit chart. So this is your Nifty 3-minute chart on Upstox free platform. Then you click on indicator. First thing you add is VWAP. VWAP is there. Second thing you add is a Keltner. Now the way you add a Keltner, over here it will show period as 50. You take a 20 period average. In shift you take as 1. That is your Keltner. Then you add the third indicator, which is ADX. Upstock ADX is very beautiful because in this you can on the histogram, right? ADX. And the last thing you add is the MACD. Done. That's your chart setup, guys. That is your simple chart setup. Now you are looking to trade this. So over here your sell VWAP के नीचे, Kelper के नीचे, this is where your sell signal come, stop above VWAP. So 8128 is your entry. It goes till almost about 100 point. Let me just take. We don't want open orders. We don't want previous close. We don't want volume. Correct. Now, let me just open now ICICI Bank. So that's your ICICI Bank setup. Throughout the day, you look at it is trading inside the calculator channel. That is not your setup. This is where when it is trading inside the calculator, that's not. It goes below calculator, already below VWAP. ADX is about 30. This is already in sell. This is where you sell. 21 should be the setup. 21. Calculator should be 20 and the shift should be 1. It goes below calculator, stop loss around here or around here, sell, boom, 8 rupees. Okay, now guys, I have just shown you how to use Greeks, which strike to buy, what data to analyze. Now I'm showing you what underlying to do. Correct? So this is view on underlying, view on volatility. So now let us go and buy something else. So at this moment when ICICI Bank was 290, if you would have bought a 300 put, right? ICICI 300 put. Look at that, guys. Look at that beautiful, beautiful signal. You would have bought a put at 32 rupees and it goes to 37. 5 rupees intraday, guys. Just 5 rupees intraday. This was already in buy. This was already above. Yes. Now let us look at the Lupin. Guys, this would have given you beautiful move in Lupin. So Lupin, future. In morning itself, look at here. Your buy would have come on of 4th, 3rd April around this level, which is what? 580 rupees. From 580, it goes to 600. Then it comes back, test the VWAP, it starts moving. Your re-entry. So most of the people who wants to know when should be your re-entry. Your re-entry is going to be on a couple of things. One, when your ADX again goes above 30. So here you take a re-entry. This is already in buy. So you take a 600 entry, it goes to 640. So guys, understand one thing. I have tell you what to do with Greeks. I will tell you how to analyze your data. Now I'm showing you intraday systems on a free software, which is Upstox demo. And this is the best part about this thing, it works like anything. You can, and if you open an account, I have zero financial interest, guys. 500 rupees is the account opening charge. You open the account and you can do, and you can trade here. This is very good software, but you can do over here also. This is, guys, this is a 3-minute time frame. For a stock, you can use a 4-minute and 5-minute also. That is also fine with me. I'm not having any issue. But you understand one thing, that it gives you very, very clean move. Look at the moves. Look at the moves. Now, this is where again you would have bought this day. Buy, but when your confirmation is ADX, ADX strength is your confirmation. Now let us look at the ICICI Bank. You are an intraday trader, and that is the reason I'm telling you. No, for a stocks, for intraday option, we are using 3-minute and 5-minute in stocks. Oh, you go to 5-minute when the stock is not moving. See, all your job, guys, whether it is an entire, all your job is when this sell signal come, you bought a put. You have to square it off. You have to square it off when your profit target achieves. Or I will tell you how to achieve. See, one thing you understand, in an intraday, you're not going to make millions, guys. In an intraday, your job is to make money and move out quickly. That's it. What you can do is you can do a large quantity over here. So this move is booked. 8 rupees on intraday, boss. That's a 2 rupees move. Ask anybody who trade intraday. 2 rupees is also enough. We are talking about a 2%. Now let us look at the bank nifty. So this is the bank nifty. Look at the same setup has given you sell signal here. And throughout the day, it has not given you a single buy signal except over here. But over here also ADS was not in confirmed. Your stop loss is going to be of the VWAP 1. And I will tell you one better technique to put a stop loss. Am I making sense, guys? Everybody clear with the setup? Just say yes and no. Don't ask about stop loss. Don't ask about re-entry. Don't ask about how much to buy. Just setup. Everybody clear? Please reply yes. This worked marvelously. I'm using it from last so many years. It is a brilliant, brilliant setup, guys. It's a superb setup. Our job is to intraday buy. This is one of the brilliant setup. And guys, all the people who are so far thinking that this is just a IV webinar, guys, please understand that this is just a introduction. Keltner setting is nothing. Keltner is a 20 period. Let me just again open. Keltner is a 20 period. And the shift is 1. That's it. Keltner is nothing, guys. All the people who are not able to understand Keltner, please subscribe to my previous webinar. And I'm going to be shameless over here because you will not be able to understand that. If you don't understand the previous webinar, I'm not going to explain it over here. I'm already over, my time limit. See, guys, you understand when you trade this kind of thing, your quantity and everything is a function of you. I'm going to explain that. Have you understood setup or not? Simple. I don't know Ichimoku. I know that Keltner is an ETR based indicator which does nothing but a plus ATR around the prices with a 20 period. And this works like brilliant. VWAP is for the strength and ADX is for the confirmation. MACD is a double confirmation. Fine. So now let us go back to our presentation. So this setup works. Now your obvious question is where do you look? Where do you look for this setup? So this is again a screenshot from iCharts, and you are looking for this setup where there is action happening. Where are we looking for this setup? Where the action is happening. So where is action happening? Action is happening where there is long, where there is short. So RBL Bank was short setup and Lupin was a long setup. ICICI Bank was again a short setup. Your job, Nifty Bank Nifty, so we do it every day. But you are looking for the stocks where there is liquidity, where there is a long build up and short build up. Next thing, you can look for the basic filters. On my FNO side, sector-wise, it gives you a build up. So you see, RBL Bank is the weakest in the banking, and let's say a BL is the strongest in a capital good. Accordingly, you can start doing whatever you want. Your basic filter comes from the OI and IV. Where the OI is addition is the long, where OI is addition with the short, that with the market going down, that's a short setup. So use this simple. Subscribe to iCharts 500 rupees monthly plan. You will get a long idea, you will get a short idea, and you will get where the ideas are. So it is giving you Jindal Steel. Let us look at the Jindal Steel, how Jindal Steel would perform. Oh, look at that beautiful setup. And the way I have said that, look for setups in the first hour and the last hour. Look at that, how beautiful this would have triggered. A short would have triggered here around 68. From 68 to 5 rupees down हो guys. जिंदगी में और क्या चाहिए यार? 5 रुपए इंट्राडे में जो तुम लोग 2 रुपए भी नहीं कमा सकते थे. It's more than what you can fathom. I have already explained the IV skew in my FNO, guys. You can please look at the recording. Please view the recording again. So the whole idea here is that this gives you very good riding. Now, this was 68 rupees per trigger. You could have probably bought a 75 or 70 rupees ka put option. Let's look at Jindal. Jindal 70 put. Okay, look at that. From 9 rupee to 13 rupees, or 4 rupees intraday. This works, guys. Okay, one more thing. You have to go home and do something which according to your thing. If I'm going to show you to make million, then why would I be showing you how to make million? I would be making myself. There are definitely something which you need to do. You have to do something on your part also. You have to understand your risk and all. So now let us go back to presentation and finish the thing, which is look for the setup, guys. When the setup gives you signal, enter. When would you enter? Which strike to buy? You would buy in the money put or in the money call. Why? Because of delta. If there is IV which is happening, then probably instead of buying a monthly, you can prefer a weekly also in the case of index. If it is a stock, avoid that. But if IV is increasing, that is your time. That is a good time because Vega will also give you money and delta will also give you money. And the next is, this is an example of RBL Bank. Look at that, how RBL Bank would have triggered a short around 127 and it went till about what 105 rupees, and the same option from 26 odd rupees to 32 rupees intraday. And the best thing about over here is the how IV. Look at how OI is declining. Price is going up, volume is rising, OI is declining. That means shorts. All the people who would have wrote a 130 put options are covering their position. So the reason I had to explain you the basics of option is because this setup is more than sufficient for you to trade. When you trade this setup, how to trade this setup, which option to buy, that is the reason I had to explain you this. That is the reason I had to explain you the volatility relationship, time relationship, and a delta relationship. Fine. Now this is the writing the this is an example of a nifty. Look at this, how beautiful. Okay, now I'm gonna give you $1 million tip. If you ever see a setup preceded by a pattern, boss तेल पानी लेके चढ़ जाने का. You know, look at this. This is a nifty 1 day prior to expiry. This setup has given, and I think we use this setup on a live trading session. All the people who are not sure to attend our live trading session, I would highly recommend to attend our live trading session. In our live trading session, I would be using the same setups with you. I will be trading with you, and I will be showing you how this works. So MACD was already by, ADX was in strength, pattern was break, and as and when it move above here, look at that, from 7800 to 8400, about 400 600 point. And इसके साथ में आपको जो यूज करना होगा, you can use a positive divergence, negative divergence, जो कर. I am showing you a simple 3-minute intraday setup, 5-minute intraday setup, which you can use it for your own reference. And this is a very good setup for you to ride options. Now you know which option to buy, which option to use. Guys, it doesn't matter which moving average you plot on a open interest. You can plot simply, you know, which you can plot a simple. This is not a average. This is a volume plotted on an open interest. Okay. Now, the most important thing, and probably towards the end of our webinar, which is what should be your position size. And in my opinion, this is the most important thing you should understand. After all the things, if you don't understand how the position size works, probably you will never be able to understand that how you can trade. So let me explain you through my. Go to chasealpha.in/RR. Okay. This is a very important thing you should understand. Guys, you should understand that when you trade, your entire purpose is to make consistent money. Okay. So first of all, most important thing, what is your trading capital? So assume on an average person has a 5 lakh trading capital. Right? If your 5 lakh is capital, next thing you should answer, what is your unemotional risk capital? When I say unemotional risk capital is, if you lose that much money, you're fine. If you lose that money, you're fine. That much money is, you're okay to lose, and everybody has that number. So in this case, I'm assuming that if somebody has a 5 lakh, is okay to lose a 2 lakh, 40% should be is unemotional risk capital. Now, ये पूरे के पूरे 2 लाख रुपए एक साथ नहीं तोड़ना है आपको ये पूरे 2 लाख रुपए कितने ट्रेड में तोड़ना है. सो आई वुड से मुझे ये 10 ट्रेड में तोड़ना है. आई वांट टू लूज माय 2 लाख रुपीस इन नेक्स्ट 10 ट्रेड. तो मतलब अगर एक साथ मेरे नेक्स्ट 10 ट्रेड गलत जाए, आई एम द वर्स्ट एनालिस्ट ऑन अर्थ, आई एम वर्स्ट ट्रेडर ऑन अर्थ, आई शुड बी हैप्पी टू एक्सेप्ट माय लॉसेस. तो मैं क्या करता हूं, मेरे 2 लाख को 10 ट्रेड में डिवाइड करता हूं. सो व्हाट आई एम डूइंग इज आई एम simply allocating my risk capital in a 10 equal part. And guys, this is a technique used by one of the very fine trader, Cecil Livermore, and again in a 1920 odd to make a millions. Okay, so आपने 10 trade में divide किया, so your permissible per trade risk is about 20,000 rupees. Okay, now you know your permissible trade is risk is 20,000 rupees. Next time when you trade, you ask, so let's say if you are trading RBL Bank, 3,000 का लॉट साइज है, 2 रुपए का स्टॉप लॉस है, स्टॉप लॉस 2 रुपए का, 3,000 का लॉट साइज, According to our risk limits, your per trade risk is 6,000 rupees. Your per trade risk is 6,000 rupees. Model tells you can trade a 3 lot here. Make sense, everybody? Say yes, so that I know that you have understood what I'm saying. आप अपने कैपिटल को सबसे पहले अनइमोशनल रिस्क कैपिटल में डिवाइड करोगे, ठीक है? तो मतलब कितना पैसा तोड़ना है मेरे को लाइफ में, दैट and trust me guys, this is a very important thing. As I'm saying, please don't say yes if you're not understood. मेरे पास 10 लाख है, मैं 3 लाख तोड़ने के लिए तैयार हूं, तो मेरा रिस्क कैपिटल 30% होता है. अब मैं वो मेरे रिस्क कैपिटल के 10 पार्ट करता हूं. एवरीबॉडी, so I would get my per permissible trade risk which is 20,000 और 30,000 जो भी रहेगा. अब मैं क्या करता हूं, जब भी स्टॉप लॉस ट्रेड लेता हूं, मैं देखता हूं स्टॉप लॉस रुपए में कितना है और लॉट साइज कितना है. तो अगर लेट मी क्लियर अ बिट, अगर लॉट साइज है 75, निफ्टी सपोज लॉट साइज है 75 और 100 रुपए का स्टॉप लॉस है, तो मेरे को खाली 2 लॉट ही ट्रेड करने हैं गाइस. आप समझ रहे हो? Your number of, so all the people who are asking me कितनी क्वांटिटी लेनी चाहिए सर, कितना कैपिटल होना चाहिए, whether we should join your live trading session, हमारे पास 1 लाख रुपीस ही है, you can join even if your 1 lakh capital is there. Why? Because I expect that when you will take a trade, you will put a stop loss according to this. So आप 50 रुपए का स्टॉप लॉस है आपका, 75 का लॉस है, आपका पर ट्रेड रिस्क 3750 बनता है, आपको 5 ही लॉट लेने हैं. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन आता है कि अगर आप इस तरह से ट्रेड करोगे, नाउ आई एम गोना ब्लो योर माइंड्स ऑफ, ट्रस्ट मी गाइस, अगर आप पहली बार मुझे सुन रहे हो, यू विल बिकम फैन ऑफ माइन, दैट व्हाट एम आई सेइंग. आप अगर 2 लाख रुपए इस तरह से ही ट्रेड करते रहते हो, यू कीप ऑन ट्रेडिंग दिस थिंग, हाउ मच मनी यू विल मेक. सो नाउ वी आर नॉट यूजिंग एनी leverage, so leverage is 1. We are average people, our accuracy is only 40%. बट और रिस्क रिवॉर्ड जो सेटअप मैंने आपको दिखाया है इज अबाउट 3. मतलब whenever we win 3 rupees, whenever we lose the 1 rupee, right? Now मैं बोलता हूं हमारा रिस्क रिवॉर्ड 3 भी ना रहे, खाली 2 ही रहे. जब भी मैं बाय करूंगा 2 लाख रुपए का प्रीमियम के हिसाब से करूंगा. अब मेरा काम एक ही है, मेरा काम खाली क्या है, अगर मैं जीतू, इफ माय ट्रेड गोज राइट, my position size should be X that it gives me 20,000 rupees. And if I go wrong, I should be happy to lose 10,000 rupees. So I want to take a monthly, daily 2 trades only. Only 2 trades मुझे option buy करना है. महीने के खाली 44 trades लेने हैं. My 17.6 trade will go right. My 26 trade will go wrong. Net I will win 92,000 rupees. How much? 92, which is 46% on my risk capital. And on मेरे 5 लाख के ऊपर almost 30% हो जाता है. Now hold your breath guys, hold your breath. अगर मैं मेरा रिस्क रिवॉर्ड खाली 1:3 कर देता हूं, तो अगर मैं जीतू तो 20,000 जीतू, 6,000 जीतू तो निकल जाऊं, I'll be making 1,78,000 rupees monthly if I take only 2 trades a day. एक सुबह एक शाम को. अगर मेरा 6,500 रुपए टूटा तो मैं बच जाएगा, और अगर 20,000 रुपए आया तो मैं निकल जाएगा, कुछ नहीं. And I have to keep doing this thing. Now let me show you the magic. The moment your accuracy goes to 60, you would make a 4 lakh rupees a month. So all the people who are finding it repetitive, guys, this is repetitive, but trust me, I want you to register this in your mind. This will tell you what should be your position size. So this, अब अगर आपका 1:2 का रिस्क रिवॉर्ड है, आपकी एक्यूरेसी 60% है, फिर भी आप महीने का 3,48,000 बना रहे हो. अगर आपकी एक्यूरेसी 40% भी हो जाती है, तभी भी आप महीने का पैसा बना रहे हो. तो what are you guys able to not relate it? The point over here is that I'm able to teach you the position sizing. The position sizing is about how much quantity you should buy. You should buy as per your risk appetite and your risk reward. Now, the last thing of the presentation, which is one should be your re-entry and exits. So, same rule as entry or entering again. You are setup driven. you are disciplined, you are adhering to your money management plan. The whole point here is to make again and again, same thing again and again. You are trying to use this setup simply by using this money management. You are going to use this options basics terminologies. You are going to use these indicators to form your view. Along with that, this setup, you will use filters like there is the OI addition happening, OI deletion unwinding is happening. You will use a filter. You will use a matrix. You will use the option matrix to arrive at how the data is shaping. And after all of these things, you will use this setup to trade, this to confirm your quantity. Your re-entry is same. Your exit is two thing. Your exit is based on one, which is मनी मैनेजमेंट. अगर 20,000 रुपए बन गया तो निकल जाऊंगा, या 6,500 टूट गया तो निकल जाऊंगा, या आपका सेटअप आपको स्टॉप आउट कर देता है. Okay, so your exit is setup driven and money management driven. Okay, you are adhering to your discipline thing, and your job is to do again and again and again. So your exit is based on risk reward. You should always remember that options are decaying asset, so you should book as early as possible, right? Look at this example. In this example, खाली इतने से move में, in this move I made a 92,000. That's it. Because I was very और एक चीज देखो, यहाँ पे मैंने ADX के ऊपर से सीरीज रिमूव करके खाली ऑसिलेटर ही रखा है. तो अगर ये ग्रीन है तो दैट्स अ पॉजिटिव, और MACD में जैसे ही बाय इसके ऊपर गया मैं चढ़ गया. That's it. Your stop loss is around VWAP के नीचे रखो या आप कितना कंजर्वेटिव हो, आप स्टैगर्ड बाय कर रहे हो, स्टैगर्ड बाय नहीं कर रहे हो. I am not covering all those things over here. The whole point over here is that your exit is risk reward based, your exit is money management based, your exit is based on your own target. Your stop loss is as per the risk appetite. Markets are like ocean. आपको एक चीज याद रखनी है, आप रोज लाखों करोड़ों रुपए नहीं बना, आप उतना बना सकते हो जितना आप हजम कर सकते हो. तो मेक योर शेयर ऑफ मनी एंड मूव ऑन. बी डिसिप्लिन, सफाइज योर ग्रीड, रिमेन फोकस्ड ऑन द लॉन्ग टर्म. जो मैंने बताया आपको लॉन्ग टर्म, ये चीज for the people who might be finding it very repetitive, I'm very sorry guys, but this thing अगर आप ये कर लोगे तो आपको किसी की जरूरत नहीं है लाइफ में, right? Refer our risk reward sheets and then you should be able to understand what should be. और simple आप Excel भी बना सकते हो, तो बड़ा rocket science नहीं है, you know. I have just made a tool for you to understand. Now last sheet of our presentation before I call a thank you is that what is the setup you should use. So you can use a broker like a Upstocks with very good starting setup. Somehow I'm not liking Zerodha for some reason, that is my personal bias. Upstocks give you a nest terminal. अगर आपको सीरियस ऑप्शन बाइंग करना है तो यू शुड ऑलवेज डू अ नेस्ट टर्मिनल, और नेस्ट को आप AWS पर डाल दीजिए, तो आप कहीं से भी उसको ऑपरेट कर सकते हो. वेब इज ऑल्सो गुड, अपस्टॉक का वेब इज ऑल्सो वेरी गुड. ठीक है. You can use a charting setup like Falcon, any broker. iCharts is good, or broker charting Upstock is also good, depending on your capital, depending on how serious you are. And data के लिए MyFNO and iCharts, इतनी चीजें को आप use कर सकते हो. ठीक है. So with that, that's a wrap on our presentation. Intraday option buying. We will take up a few questions for next 10 minutes. This presentation will be available for you to, do the viewing again. But this was around buy. We are not covering. You can use the Spider software also. Sumit is asking. That is also fine. You can view it as many times as you want. We are not covering algo based over here, so I will not answer that one. Correct. Data reading and chart setup. That's what we have covered. But then this setup works irrespective of all the market. So setup is over here, guys. All the people who have not got understood, this is the setup. Calculator channel, VWAP, ADX, MACD, and RSI for some other confirmation. Upstock is very good website. उनका जो pro हुआ है, that's a very good website. OI is also good way for you to understand. Target of option strike based on underlying only. Correct. You can use that. Bharat Bhushan is asking question, should we trade our stop loss or keep VWAP stop loss? VWAP stop loss is a good starting point. Keep a conservative stop loss when you enter into trade. If you enter into a trade with a very aggressive stop loss, you will be soon stopped out. And many a times before a larger move comes, it should not be the other way around. Guys, all the people who want to trade stocks, refrain from trading larger. Keep it to a stock like ICICI Bank, SBI, RBI, which are liquid one. This works in every market, Vamsi, irrespective of in a range bound market, what would happen? Smaller will come or you would be stopped out early. But this setup is very good setup for the people who are looking for a risk reward of 1:2 and 3. What is the oscillator on ADX? Guys, that if you go to upstock, you will understand that in an upstocks, let me show you. In an upstocks, look at here, guys, look at here. In an upstocks, when you click on ADX, you have this option, histogram. If you plot this histogram, what will it do? It means it is the distance between the plus DI and minus DI. And now you can disable the series. Now it will only plot the histogram and not the that thing. I prefer to keep it both. Visually, it gives you a very clear indication. Should we use RSI? I use RSI for other setups. If you have seen my momentum on future, you would understand negative reversal and positive reversal. That is the one setup which I use. Lot of questions, guys. Please slow down. Let me answer a few questions. Rohit Salunkhe is asking question, OI change what time to be check in procedure. Guys, the way I use it, in the first hour I use setup driven. After 10:30 to 11, 12, I use OI data because after 2, whatever the move comes, that is comes based on the data. So you can use that. Out of the money option, out of the money option should be, Vishal is asking, when out of the money option should be buy. Out of the money option should only be buy when large moves are expected and when there is a large OTM skew. Thank you so much, guys. One basic question Bharat Bhushan is asking, falling market move down. A lot of fast questions are happening for me. It's very difficult to answer. How should we shortlist the stocks buy list? And Surjit is asking. Surjit, I hope I was able to make some sense now after you finding the first session very boring. But understand that your basic filter is stocks adding longs and stocks which are adding shorts. And I have shown you where you find that. You can find that in iCharts over here. In iCharts, if you go and if you go to futures, OI builder, this is where you'll be able to find where the OI is addition, long side and short side both. Mayank is asking what is important, data reading or a trend. Guys, I have realized with my experience, both has its own weightage. Sometimes data gives you early indication, sometimes setup give you early indication. Our job is to make money and move out. But this is all to for the purpose of you to enter in a direction of a trend. Gautam, thanks so much for a kind words. Gautam is saying you are making us use the lockdown well so much of now to read apart from the webinar. Thank you so much, Gautam. Thank you so much. Guys, please understand that without basics of options, volatility and all the things, this thing is not going to make sense. I would have been simply showing you chart setup and you would have done. But if you would have not understand the basic, this would have not made sense. Thank you so much, Aditya. Aditya says that you open eyes to a world of data analysis. I am blown away. Thank you so much, guys. Data analysis is a wonderful field. I can at least speak 2 days for data analysis. Today, data analysis was only for the options, and all the people who wanted to understand the data analysis, this is enough for you if you are looking for option buy. After this, you have to understand that you have to be smart enough where the markets are moving. If the markets are moving directly in your direction, then why are you bothering about that? This setup, this presentation is available to you. I mean, in terms of reporting, you can go just experiment. Upstock is a free thing. I have used most of the things which are free. Shrikant is here from iCharts. 600 rupees a month is a good subscription. Started with that. Lose money which you can afford to, lose. Do a risk reward calculation. Your job should be focused on the larger concept. And guys, if you make consistent money, there is nothing like it. Consistent money is what you should definitely look to make money. The setup that I have shown you, this works like charm. All the people. Now, last thing I want to tell you guys, all the people who are with us, please register for our live trading. In a live trading, I'll be trading live. I'll be showing you this all the setup live. I will be doing the same data analysis again and again, chart. And last time, the way people have, with us, had a wonderful, feedback. You can go ahead and look at our website, chasealpha.in/live trading. People made right from 40,000 to 4 lakh rupees with trading with us. I myself made a 3 lakh rupees trading with you. Thank you so much, guys. Love you so much. And it's almost 6:30, 2.5 hours. I hope you liked it. You can go ahead and look at the presentation again, look at the recording again. I'm available on info@Chase Alpha. My team is available. You can please give a good feedback. This was our end of our entire Momentum webinar series. Please give a thumbs up. I hope you guys will be able to, appreciate. Subscribe to our live trading and give a good review on the Twitter, because there are a lot of trollers trolling us. I hope something from a good is definitely we would like to have it. I'm ending this webinar. You would get the one survey. Please answer. It will help us to do better for upcoming session. Thank you so much. I'm ending the webinar now for you guys, and you should be able to see that. And please answer questions so that we can improve the upcoming session. Thank you so much. Love you. Bye.